I wanted to let you know that I think one of the video cameras got a quick look of someone of one of the jurors as they pulled forward in their chair. So I guess I'd ask you not to lean forward, but we moved the camera too, so. The name of the next witness?
Brian Malash.
Oh, Brian Malash, okay. Could you step forward? Could you raise your hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the truth after that? Yes. Okay, could you step up and have a seat? And would you state your full name and spell your first and last name, please?
Brian Joseph Malash, BRIAN-MELOCHAG.
Okay, so just keep your voice up.
Okay. Sir, you're a little soft-spoken, so I want you, as loud as you can, pretend like I'm in the back.
Okay.
And sir, how are you employed?
I'm full-time, my job.
Yes, what do you do?
I'm a full-time firefighter captain.
Okay. Now, sir, do you know James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
And not through your profession as a firefighter, but personally?
Yes.
Okay. Is Jennifer Crumbley in court today?
Yes.
Can you point to describe something she's wearing today?
Yes, the gray blazer.
Okay. With the record reflect the identification of the defendant?
Never heard of this like that.
And again, please, nice and loud. I'm even having trouble.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. When did you first meet Jennifer Crumbley?
High school.
High school? Okay, so you went to high school together?
Yes, sir.
When did you first meet James Crumbley?
When they moved back to Michigan.
Okay. So in between the time you knew Jennifer Crumbley in high school from the time that they left the state and came back to Michigan, did you stay in touch with her?
No, not until maybe Facebook years. A long time later.
Okay. And you said you were connected with her on social media?
Yes.
Okay, so is it fair to say you followed her on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. What about Instagram?
No, I don't think so.
Just Facebook?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know if Jennifer had a son?
Yes.
Okay. Had you ever met him?
No.
Did Jennifer ever talk to you about issues she was having with her son?
No.
Did she ever tell you about a friend of her son's?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me what she told you about that friend.
It was his friend, and then he went away and died.
Okay. Went away or died? What did she tell you?
Yeah, I believe he killed himself.
Okay. That's what Jennifer told you?
Yes.
Did you come to learn later on that that wasn't true?
Yes.
Now, I want to direct your attention specifically to the days around November the 30th of 2021. That's the day of the Oxford High School shooting. Okay, do you recall that event?
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say that from the time period that Jennifer moved back to Michigan up until November the 30th, 2021, you two would communicate on a regular basis with each other?
Yes.
Okay. In what method would you communicate? Would that be in person, text message, messaging app, or all three?
All three.
Okay. Did you save any of those messages between Jennifer Crumbley and yourself?
No.
Now, the morning of November the 30th, 2021, do you recall receiving a message from Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
Tell me about that, please.
It was, I don't know how it started at the beginning of the messages, but it ended up that she had to go to a meeting at the school.
Jennifer, she had to go to a meeting at school? Okay. And what happened? Tell me what happened next in the conversation.
It was that something with Ethan.
Her son?
Yes.
Okay.
And was worried he was going to do something dumb.
Who was worried?
Jennifer.
Jennifer was worried, okay. And she sent you the message before she had gone to the school?
Yes.
Okay. Now, prior to that, prior to November the 30th of 2021, were you aware that the Crumbleys had gotten a handgun for their son?
Yes.
Okay. And do you own firearms yourself?
Yes.
Okay. So you're familiar with how to store firearms and how to use them?
Yes, sir.
How did you learn that the Crumbleys had obtained a handgun for their son?
I saw it on Facebook post.
Okay. And what was your initial reaction to that?
It was, I was just surprised kind of they got it, but
Why were you surprised?
it was the handgun they purchased it.
Okay. So you knew that they had gotten a handgun by the time that Jennifer messaged you on November the 30th that she was afraid her son was going to do something?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when she sent you that message on November 30th, what was your response?
I asked where the firearm was.
And why did the firearm click in your head at that point?
That's with my background and everything. It's like I know that would just be, if something was going to occur, that would be produce just immediate irreparable damage compared to any other possible thing.
Okay. That being fire?
Yes.
All right. Did Jennifer respond to you? Let's back up. I want to make sure we have the chronology correct. So November 30th, 2021 is a Tuesday. She indicated that she had to go to her son's school. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And she told you what she was afraid of?
Yes.
And what was that again?
That he was going to do something dumb.
He isn't her son?
Yes.
Okay. And then your next message or response to that was asking about fire?
Yes.
Okay. And what was Jennifer's response to that?
That it was in her vehicle.
Okay. And what did you think about that?
I said that wasn't a good place. It's not. It should not be there.
Okay. And do you recall what she said?
No.
Okay. Now, do you recall this conversation was over the phone or was it on a messaging app?
Messages.
Now, later that day, November 30th, 2021, did you learn what had happened at the Oxford High School?
Yes.
Do you recall how you found out about that?
Through me, through social media and the news.
Now, after that shooting, did you continue to communicate with Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have already introduced evidence through an expert in computer forensics about how messages are saved and if one person deletes, one person doesn't. You told us that you had deleted those messages with Jennifer?
Yes.
The Facebook messages?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, a search warrant was executed from Facebook itself. It obtained some messages. And we already introduced some of these messages through Edward Borowski. People are going to see to the remaining Facebook messages between Mr. Malosh and Jennifer Crumbley as a new exhibit at 426.
Is that 426?
Your Honor, I'd like to just review 426, but if it's the same as what was previously, just the whole thing, that's fine. I just don't know, is there more than what you gave me before?
So, you should have all those, but Mr. Borowski, we admitted 8 pages of that. I'm just seeking to put the whole thing.
What's the whole thing? I have not been provided that. This is the first I'm hearing that. I probably have no objection, but I need...
Okay, when you say it's the whole thing, it's the whole communication between Mr. Malosh and
The remaining communications that begins December the 1st, 2021. It's a PDF. It was printed. It'd be 77 pages long, and it has the remaining messages because, as we've already learned, when one person deletes but the other person is not able to, Facebook, the server, Facebook can retain them. So this is what's remaining.
Okay, so how long is this exhibit?
It's 77 pages printed out. We're not going to go through all 77 pages, obviously, but I want to make sure that we have the whole thing.
I would just like the record to establish that when I was provided the proposed exhibits, I was provided 8 pages of them. Now, I understand that in discovery, through the 30 discovery dumps I got, I have these.
Okay.
And likely as we go through, there won't be objections. However...
Okay, I'm going to ask him to show it to you.
Okay,
Yes,
please,
sir.
yes.
I
And Your Honor,
actually printed out extra copies for you.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'm going to need a moment. This is...
Okay.
77 minus 8 more pages than I was told.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of discovery, and she didn't specifically know, like, this exhibit list doesn't say specifically.
Right, so throughout these,
Well, they gave me those
I mean,
exhibits on a
respond-
disc,
just
but they
respond to
gave
the
me
judge. Just respond to the judge.
Okay.
Throughout this case, there's been different objections lodged by the defense counsel. When we displayed a portion of a Facebook thread or a portion of a chat, I don't want to have to go through that. I want to just give the entire exhibit to the jury.
Okay.
And counsel has had this for approximately 2 years.
Okay,
And
correct. But, okay, I know what you're gonna say.
The
Okay?
disc they gave me of the exhibits
There's
doesn't
mountains.
match.
There's mountains
Right.
of information. There's mountains of information. He's trying to admit a portion of the Facebook communication via exhibit 426. You are not exactly clear what is in 426. You have the right to review that exhibit prior to it being admitted and determine whether you object or you do not object.
May I please have some time? I apologize.
Yes.
In
Yes.
all fairness, I understand there's mountains of discovery. I've read it all, but
I
2
know.
years ago.
Yes, I know.
I was given actual copies of what the prosecution intended to use at trial, and it was 8 pages long. Today they're walking in with 77 pages. They actually gave me it on a hard drive.
That's a different exhibit, right?
Just these are
Wait,
conversations
it is,
with court client.
but in addition,
Okay, well, someone might have to type this someday. Okay, so there was another exhibit that was Facebook communication that might have been 8 pages long that was a different exhibit. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, what exhibit number is that?
That is
it's exhibit 151.
151.
Okay. All right.
And
So
Your Honor-
this is, yeah, I'm gonna let you look at it.
I'm sorry, the point I'm making though is that they identified the 8 pages, they gave me those 8 pages, and as new exhibits have been added onto the exhibit list, they have been providing them to me in advance of a witness getting on the stand. This is last minute craziness, so I apologize. I have to take the jury's time now to review something that they could have handed me.
Judge, this is wholly inappropriate, especially in front of the jury.
Okay,
I've already explained why.
wait. You said specifically in exhibit 151, that there's an order about exchanging exhibits. What your exhibits are different than what discovery is.
We've already identified that in the compliance with the court schedule order. We complied with discovery. This was turned over 2 years
You're
ago.
not
And this is covered in the
I
stipulation
didn't
signed by
say,
counsel.
I didn't say that you didn't comply with discovery. If we put everything in discovery into evidence, we'd be sitting here for another 5 weeks, right?
Yes.
But what is provided in discovery is different than designating exhibits. You designated exhibit 151 as Facebook messages from Jennifer Crumbley to Brian Meloche, and those are pages 51 to 58, correct? So that's been admitted as 151.
Right.
There's not a description of that exhibit, right? So in what way would she know exactly what that exhibit was comprised
If
of?
she wants more time, we have no objection to reviewing this.
Okay.
Your Honor, the answer is they gave me a hard drive with each exhibit on it.
Okay.
I had a hard time opening some of those exhibits, but what's on the hard drive they gave me is the 8 pages in exhibit 151. They did not include 77 pages.
Okay. Did you designate which exhibit it was? Did you?
Yes. 151 is a portion of the Facebook thread. We did this with exhibits through Edward Borowski. That's why we made it 423. We went through the whole
Okay, well,
process.
I have a list of exhibits, and it doesn't say what that is.
Again, I'm just trying to give full context, Judge. We've gone through this with multiple witnesses.
Okay.
This isn't a surprise. This evidence has been with defense. We have the witness who's declared, and then her client is the other.
Your Honor, this is a surprise.
Okay.
And so to say this is not a surprise, it is a surprise.
It's not-
And this is a
Okay,
repeated
done.
pattern.
Okay, I get it. You guys are repeating yourselves, all right? All of this information has been provided, but there's a lot of information. If someone wants to admit an exhibit, they have an exhibit, and the other side gets to review what the exhibit is and decide whether they object or not. Ms. Smith has objected to almost no exhibits here. They've all mostly been admitted, right? But the defense has a right to review what the prosecutor wants to present as an exhibit. It's not that they didn't. Everybody's had everything. There are boxes and boxes of things, but she has a right to review the exhibit. And rather have you sit here, I'm gonna have you go back and eat licorice and donuts and what else do we have here? Cookies. I'm gonna let you do that for 10 minutes while she reviews the exhibit. Okay? Great.
Oh, I agree. I'm sorry. Your Honor, I can just review this.
She reviews the exhibit. She can sit here.
She can sit here.
I think she can. She needs to show her the exhibit. All right?
Your Honor, the biggest hearing I have is that the microphone picks up, and I've been told multiple times that it picks up between myself and Mrs. Crumbley.
My
So
husband
can we have it
needs
turned off?
to tell me that you can hear her. Can we turn off the camera and everything right now just so we can do the exhibit?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to bring you back in.
I just need to get a copy of this so that.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
Should we take the same, Judge?
Yes, please. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. So, sir, was it your common practice then to delete all messages between yourself and Jennifer Crumbley either immediately or shortly thereafter the message was sent to receive?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to show you what's been admitted as people's 426. You have a screen in front of you. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this is information received from Facebook through a search warrant. It's printed out at the 77 pages, and we have a conversation participants between yourself and J.C. Rumbley. That's the defendant, Jennifer Crumbley. Is that right? You have to say yes.
Yes.
Okay. The green, so we know that's Jennifer Crumbley, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then the blue would be you.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now I'm going to go through some of these with you. We'll start with page 16 here. And I guess first, these begin from what was recovered via search warrant from Facebook on December the 1st, 2021. And we have heard evidence already, so you're aware. See, it says UTC plus 0. Do you see that right there?
Yes.
Okay. So that actually means it's 5 hours earlier in the time on that text message, so you know. So the first message here would actually be November the 30th in the late evening hours. Thank you. Now, prior to this message here, did you have any other contact with Jennifer Crumbley from the time she expressed concern about her son? Did these messages coming to you?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that, please.
That was,
Like,
oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. It was after the shooting occurred, it was that, it was, the gun was missing.
Which gun?
The 9mm.
Okay.
And, I decided to call 911,
You told her to call 911?
Yes.
Okay, you told her you're a firefighter?
Yes.
So why was it important to you to tell her to call 911?
just to allow, the first responders, the police, whatever, to identify that there's potential, what's going on.
Okay.
We're missing it, and something's going on.
All right. Now, it's fair to say that the first message we have here that says 12/1/21 at 2:56 a.m. UTC 0, that's not the first message exchange between the two of you. Correct? Correct. Okay. So just everything before that would have been deleted by both yourself and Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
All right. So again, I'm going to refer to these pages. And just so you know, this is everything that's recovered from Facebook. Okay, so this is page 16, exhibit 426.
Your Honor, I apologize. Does the court have Wi-Fi? Because the file's so large, my hotspot's not going fast enough, and they just emailed it over to me, and I can't open it on my computer. Do you know if there's a password or if there's a...
There's some, not my
Oh,
department.
yeah, mine either, thanks. I appreciate it, though, that the court is helping. Do I go to the CVS?
Ms. Nell sent it again with reduced file size.
Oh, okay, I'll try that, thank you. I'm sorry, I just can't get it open.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, in the blue here, this is 12/1/21. So this is shortly before midnight on November the 30th, 2021. And what did you write to her?
I can't even keep up. None of our Facebook pulls those down instantly.
Okay, and that was in response to what?
Sending screenshots showing what was going on and everybody that was commenting through their stuff or regarding them.
Okay, that's page 16. Go to page 33. Jennifer Crumbley wrote what at just after midnight on December 1st, 2021?
Agreed. I failed as a parent. I failed miserably.
And your response was?
You didn't do this.
Okay. Now, is it fair to say at that point in time your information was received regarding the shooting from Jennifer Crumbley?
At that point.
Did you know all the facts? Did you know all the facts?
No.
Okay. So throughout this text message or Facebook message conversation, there's messages from you expressing concern over Jennifer Crumbley, frustration by the fact that she's going to be charged, disbelief that she's going to be charged. Were those your opinions at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not asking you to agree or disagree. We just want the truth from you. So is that what you feel now?
No, not. I've received more info.
Okay. I'm going to move on now to page 38.
Your Honor, I am so sorry, but I cannot get the file they sent me to open, and I really need a minute to get this file open.
Okay, I personally can't help with that, but maybe,
Are you connected? No, it's not letting me connect. That's the problem I'm having right now. Okay, the joint OCS came on. I just need to be able to have this open. It says I'm connected now. Let me try this again. The first file was too big. Okay, they sent a second file. I got it. Thank you.
all right. Moving on.
All right, ready? Okay. This is page 38 of exhibit 426. In the green, there's some screenshots sent, and then Jennifer wrote, seriously, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, can't see my horses, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. And your response was what?
No one knows how to handle any of this.
Okay, and that was in regards to screenshots sent from Kara Penny, is that right? You have to say yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going on page 42.
Your Honor, I guess the prosecution said leading witness. I haven't objected, but we've been doing a lot of meetings.
Okay, so I'll make sure, don't ask anything that suggests anything. Okay, this is page 42. The top text bubble here in green, what did the defendant write?
Social media, we heard we may get charged too.
Okay, and your response?
I did hear that. That was mentioned on one of the news stations. I don't know how both of you could be charged. I can only assume you'll charge James with the handgun not being secure.
Okay, and she wrote this December 1st, 2021, 11:10 p.m. UTC, plus 0. So that is actually 5 hours sooner than that. So that would be in the evening hours of Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021. Is that right? Okay. All right, also on page 42, there's a deleted message here. This is green. Tell us what this one says.
You unsent the message.
Okay, you obviously were here when Mr. Rogowski testified to tell us what that means and what that red X means. But what is the message that was actually deleted here?
Is that the green I'm looking at?
Right here, yeah.
It was. We had the string lock on it. It came within the case.
Okay. Now, you had talked to her via message on the morning of November the 30th, 2021, when she told you about having to go to school, right?
Yes.
Okay. Prior to this message coming to you on Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021, in the evening hours, did she mention anything about a locking mechanism for the gun?
No.
Moving on to page 43. Okay. She wrote this December the 1st, 2021, 11:47 UTC 0, so roughly the same time as the deleted message we just referenced. What did she write?
The news articles are saying charging both parents.
Okay. And your response?
I heard that, but I can't imagine what they could possibly charge you with. Just remember, the news is not accurate. They notoriously fill in gaps where they have no info or report as fact. Report as fact info they get third hand.
Okay. Again, those were your feelings at the time?
Yes.
Okay. On page, what is the, finish this page here for us. So after they get info third hand, what were the responses in green?
It's coming from the prosecuting attorney. I need to retain a lawyer's staff.
Okay. And now we're on page 44. Again, this was Wednesday, December the 1st, 2021, evening hours. That's the day after the shooting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we have already admitted this portion of your Facebook message thread. Again, deleted message. Can you read it for us?
The unsent message, the one below that.
Both. Just give us the
You unsent a message.
Okay. And then what did she write that was actually deleted?
Everything was secured, not loaded. Bullets stored away separately. OMG, OMG, OMG.
Okay. And again, this is the conversation, the first time I ever heard Jennifer Crumbley tell you anything about the fire being secure.
Yes.
We'll move on to page 46. Here's 45 first. Another deleted message. What did Jennifer Crumbley write?
No, I'll never be okay. I lost my son, and he's a murderer, and I'll forever have to live with the guilt of that. I'm not even sure life is worth living anymore.
Okay, and that one was deleted as. Now the timestamp is Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021.
Your Honor,
12.
I'm sorry, I object to the prosecutor saying this one was deleted. The message that was unsent is not sent, but the next message was received.
That's not the evidence, Judge. Edward Rogowski already testified to what the signifies.
Yeah, he said, and you can both correct me if I'm wrong, that if you unsend a message, it can be retrieved. And so the message below that is at the same time 12:42:32. So the message below the you unsent a message is the retrieved message.
That's deleted. Edward Rogowski testified it was the red X. The server signifies it was.
No, he
it was
testified.
deleted. It was deleted, retrieved from the extraction report, or from the server itself.
So you're saying that she deleted her message about how she lost her son?
I'm not saying that. That's what Mr. Rogowski said.
I'm just trying to understand. If you're
Yeah,
saying
the expert computer guy
Right.
okay,
So
okay.
testified.
that's what I
You
mean.
can unsend a message, but it can be retrieved, and those red dots are what note something that has been retrieved.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
That was deleted.
Yep. All right. Okay. Go to 46. What did she say here on Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, 12:51 p.m.?
My mom won't talk to me.
In your response?
You have more than you know, in our circle, no one is faulting you, and most people are really horrible for you.
And then, did you write something else?
Your mom won't.
Okay. And the next page, what did she say?
She blames us.
Move on to page 49. Okay, tell us what she wrote here.
The top.
Yeah, go from the top.
And we will never be the same.
In your response?
Never, ever.
And she wrote what to that?
It's like mourning the death of my child.
Move on to page 50. A discussion about obtaining an attorney.
Yes.
Okay, what did she write?
I know we're working to retain one right now.
Okay. And then what did she say regarding the charges she might be facing?
They're saying involuntary manslaughter.
Okay, so that is Thursday, December 2nd, 2021, 1:31 p.m. UTC plus 0. So that's actually the morning of Thursday, December 2nd. Okay, that's 50. Here's, I believe the message was already admitted. Can you read us, please, what was deleted from Jennifer's phone?
We're on the run again. Helicopter's not sure where to message you.
Move on to page 53. And she wrote something to you right here, December 2nd, 2021, 4:40 p.m. plus 0, so that's 11:40 a.m. on December 2nd. What did she write to you?
We just bought new phones with old numbers to take care of all of this shit.
Okay, and the next message?
Clear your cache.
Okay, and then what was your response?
Good move.
What did you take that clear your cache to me? What does that mean?
I'll just clear messages off, I guess.
Off of a device?
Yes.
Here's page 58. This was also previously admitted. Tell us, read us this deleted message.
We're fucked.
And she said that to you Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021 at 2 p.m. Here's page 61. She indicated she was an attorney?
Yes.
Okay, what did she write?
Thank you. We secured a lawyer.
Okay, that's December the 2nd, 2021. That is in the afternoon of Thursday, December the 2nd. Okay, and did you ask if they were going to charge?
Yes.
Okay, again, this is Thursday of that week, and what did she respond?
Yes, we'll be charged.
Now, this is page 64. There are some photographs here that she sent to you. Have you seen these photographs before?
Yes.
Okay, and do you recall what they depict?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
There's a gun and a person bleeding, and the thoughts won't stop, and I can't recall it.
Okay. But that's, you recall that?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you think of that?
Disturbing.
Okay. And she sent that to you, and then what did she say in that message right after she sent you that picture?
This is what they found and not threat.
Okay, she was referring, what did you think she was referring to?
A school.
The school? Okay. And let's go through this conversation. What did you write?
And never even notified the liaison officer.
That was your question to her?
Yes, sir.
And what was her response?
But the paper they showed is, and all these things scratched out.
Okay, now, did you know that she was actually sent the paper with things scratched out?
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. Is your last name Malash or Malosh?
Malash.
Malash, okay. Good afternoon. I'm Shannon Smith. I represent Jennifer Crumbley. You and I have never met before today, correct?
Correct.
And we have never even spoken on phone, had eye contact. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay, I want to go back and explain to the jury, have you explained how you became involved in this case, okay? So after the shooting and after December 4th, it would be fair to say law enforcement got in touch with you to talk to you about your knowledge of anything related to Mrs. Crumbley or Ethan Crumbley, correct?
Yeah.
Now, on that day and time, the first interview you did was with law enforcement. You met with somebody from the Oakland Sheriff's Department, correct?
Correct.
Now, the first time you met with them, you were interviewed for 1 hour and 42 minutes, correct?
Correct.
A long interview. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And in February of 2022, you did a second interview with law enforcement that was about 1 hour long, correct?
Correct.
And then recently, so within the past couple months, okay, in December of 2023, law enforcement did a third interview with you, correct?
Correct.
And that interview was almost 3 hours long. Is that a yes?
Yes.
So you were interviewed once at the very beginning of the case, right after the shooting, correct?
Correct.
You were interviewed a second time months later in February for about 1 hour.
Correct.
And recently, within the last couple of months in December, you did this 3-hour interview.
Correct.
It's fair to say that throughout all 3 interviews, you tell law enforcement repeatedly that you have memory problems, correct?
Correct.
You do not have a good memory.
Correct.
I am not trying to be mean to you, but you have repeatedly said you don't have a good memory. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you initially talked to law enforcement, they told you they would like you to write a statement, correct?
Yes.
And you did, in fact, write a statement. You typed one out, correct?
Yes.
Now, the date you typed one out, did you do this on the date you were first interviewed?
It was morning after.
Okay, so the morning after, so it says you were interviewed Friday, December 10th, 2021, correct?
Correct.
So the statement that you actually typed out and wrote would have been done on December 11th of 21.
Yes.
Now, it's fair to say that in the statement, you gave law enforcement and police as much information as you could remember, right?
Yes.
And this time, when you wrote your statement, this was way closer in time to the shooting than we are today, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you wrote your statement to police, a lot of the new information you're sharing was not in your original statement, correct?
Correct.
And you would agree with me that during the hours of interviews you've had with law enforcement, they have given you different pieces of information against Jennifer Crumbley, correct?
Correct.
And you have not had the opportunity to take all this new information you're getting against Jennifer Crumbley and talk to her about it, correct?
Correct.
The last time you talked to Jennifer Crumbley was December 4th of 2021. Is that a yes? It's fair to say that police, they have asked you the same questions over and over and over. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when they ask you the same questions over and over and over, you can tell sometimes they don't like the answers they're getting from you. You can tell that. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. I need you to be loud. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
So when you can tell they don't like the answers, you keep talking to them, correct?
Correct.
And when they've been interviewing you, they have started to talk to you about things like your job and your benefits, correct?
Correct.
And they have said things to you like, if you're helping Jennifer Crumbley, you could lose your job as a firefighter, correct?
Correct.
They have said things to you like, if you're helping Jennifer Crumbley, you're going to lose all the benefits, your pension, things like that, correct?
Correct.
It's fair to say that when you talk to law enforcement, they have said things that make you feel like you're going to be in trouble because of your friendship with Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
So when you're up here on the stand today saying some of these things, we can agree they are brand new within the last few months.
Yeah, new that I've seen.
Okay, so and largely what has influenced you to change what you say, what you said initially, is because police have talked to you and made you change your mind, correct?
They had to make me, from my original, that more information was needed.
Right, so my point is, you talked to them at first, back in December, right after the shooting happened, right?
Yes.
And then law enforcement met with you 2 more times and gave you information, right?
Yes.
And they told you that if you were helping Jennifer Crumbley, you would be in trouble.
Objection, we're getting dangerously close to what defense counsel has sought to exclude, and I need to be able to redirect.
Yeah, let's be careful. Let's be careful.
If counsel is going to lay the implication of a certain reason,
Well, you're asking whether law enforcement threatened him in order to get him alive?
Yeah,
then the door is wide open for people.
It might be.
Thank you, Judge.
Well,
I don't care if the door's open. That's fine. Mr.
Yeah, then I think we need to excuse the jury and have the
That's fine.
defendant make a record.
No, Your Honor, we've already done that. That is not what needs to happen. The jury needs to excuse, that's
Something
fine.
you tell me. You tell me.
This is something different.
Well, there's allegations here that somehow this witness was intimidated by the police, and I would take that very seriously. So, if that's true, the jury should know. So, that's a serious implication. So,
Judge, we can't allow counsel to say those line of questions without and prevent the people from having the witness keep the whole story.
I'm not trying to keep the whole story. Go ahead. We can do that right now. We want to make a record that's not needed. I'll ask the questions.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Mr.
we
Malone,
need-
Mr. Wade.
For proper purposes, we need a record made, Judge.
okay, all right, 10 minutes, guys. Maybe 5. I'm sorry, Mr. Okay. Okay, everybody be seated. I think I guess we stop thinking about this for a minute. Okay, we'll be right back. My notes, a very comfortable position to be in. We're doing our best. Okay. You may be seated. Okay, so we had a motion when they, gosh, when was that? November, March, when was it, 2022? And certain evidence was excluded, right?
Yes, Judge. Specifically, counsel sought to exclude all evidence of extramarital affair.
Okay,
No.
so, yeah.
As an offer of proof, this witness, when asked, will testify that he didn't want that information out in the public domain. Now, I didn't ask him any of that information. Counsel is choosing to cross-examine him in a fashion which makes it appear that he's either been intimidated or willfully lied about statements made. He has a reason why certain statements have changed, Judge, and if counsel is going to be allowed to introduce this to the jury, we have to be allowed to rehabilitate him and show what actually happened. And if counsel does say the door is open, like she just said, first, I would like a record from Jennifer Crumbley herself, that she acknowledges what this means. It is her decision in consultation with her attorney and her trial strategy.
Well, credibility of a witness is always at issue, and so is the motive of a witness. And I did exclude that evidence at your request, subject to later information that if indeed something having to do with their relationship lent itself to negligence or dereliction of duty, right? So I did grant that motion. So what is your position now? Because the jury can't be led to believe that they, waterboarded this guy, had him to talk or something, right?
Your Honor, my position is that if the court has found I've opened the door, the court has found I've opened the door, and I would like to proceed with questioning.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna put that right back in your lap, right? You're asking me. I'm asking you.
Oh, I'm fine. I would like the door to be open. I would like to be able to fully cross-examine this witness.
Okay, could you raise your right hand?
And Your Honor, I would object to the court inquiring, asking Mrs. Crumbley about this. This is trial strategy that's left to the attorney.
Judge, no, we need to have a full record for appellate purposes.
A record of what?
Of voir dire of the defendant, just the way the Facebook message was introduced, that it is in consultation with her attorney. She understands what this means. She understands that counsel cannot use that prior ruling to her advantage. She understands that at her behalf, counsel has sought to exclude certain things and was successful. But now, counsel is adamantly requesting that ruling not be put in place, allowing the prosecution to cross-examine this witness, and when the defendant testifies as well. That's all out in front of the jury. So that's not fair game for when the defendant takes the stand for what she's indicated she's going to do.
Okay, well, I guess I would say if the defendant takes the stand, it is fair game to the extent it's relevant.
Of course,
Right?
it's always to the extent it's relevant.
Right.
I can certainly envision a possibility how it might be.
Your Honor, I suppose the first thing I need is a ruling if I've opened the door and if this evidence is now relevant about the affair. Because I still think it's relevant that police threatened and made Mr. Maloch say things that were inaccurate, irrespective of the affair.
Okay, well, I don't know what happened. Did they interview him for 3 hours and then threaten to call his wife? I don't know. I don't know what happened.
No, they threatened him like I asked him about his job, his pension, losing those things.
That's counsel's characterization of something that is certainly not evidence. The question is not evidence, and that is certainly that we're going to explore now.
Well, I guess the prosecution is saying he initially had a motive, perhaps not to be completely truthful to the police because he didn't want his private relationship with the defendant revealed, which, I guess is understandable. But it sounds like maybe he wasn't completely open and honest with them as a result of that.
Now, all prior consistent statements would be admissible under MRA 801. But first,
Yeah, I'm not going to let the jury think that the police, threatened him or did something to make him say something he didn't mean just to avoid repercussions to him, whether it's employment-wise or personally.
That's fine. Your Honor, I have opened the door and I want that door opened and I want to fully examine this with this witness.
again, what you're
I'm
from the
sorry.
defendant.
Okay, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give is the truth, so help you God?
Okay.
Okay, can you put your hand down? Mrs. Conley, I want to make sure, this is kind of fast and furious here, right? Okay, so I want to make sure you know what was going on. A year and a half ago, there were some motions that were filed about keeping some evidence out.
Correct.
I guess I would suggest that now that we're here 2 years later and there's more information about the case, I can't even tell you if I rule in the same way, knowing everything I know now. But that being said, I want to make sure you understand what your lawyer said, which is that I previously ruled that in and of itself, that the fact that you were having a romantic relationship with this man, to me was not evidence in and of itself of gross negligence or dereliction of duty. Therefore, I granted your attorney's motion to keep that information out of the trial. You understand that, right? Okay, but now this gentleman is being questioned about why he did or didn't make certain statements to the police. and your attorney has indicated in front of the jury that he might have some motives, or maybe he's threatened by the police, and she has said to me that she wishes to pursue that line of questioning, and I want to make sure that you are supportive of that.
I can trust her, so yes.
Okay, so you understand that then we're going to crumple my order up about that and throw it in the trash and go forward.
I do.
You understand it?
I do.
And you agree? And you agree?
I guess, yes.
Okay.
Judge, I think I should make a record. So the defendant, and perhaps counsel knows for sure, it's not just an affair with one man that was uncovered. There's web searches now. There's trips during work hours. There's when she was on actual work trips with other individuals. It's not just this person.
Okay,
She's
I
the
don't
entire
think that that's appropriate. You're asking why this.
Judge, counsel has alleged that 2 investigators with 30 years of experience have committed basically a crime by intimidating a witness and lying to a witness, and that it requires a strong and accurate response. This changes the entire case, Judge. I can't let that comment go without being corrected.
Okay, well, I don't know any of this information. You're going to ask.
How do those web searches? How do the web searches make a difference? That's insane.
Trips or
Trips with him, though. Trips with him when she said she was.
They make no difference in
Judge, that goes to the heart of gross negligence and failure.
whether or not
Part of the case that we moved past.
I don't know
According to the
anything
room.
about that.
Your Honor, lots of people have
that
don't have children.
is negligent behavior. You can't bring in
I'm not, I don't care. I don't
Okay,
care.
I don't know what you're
the
asking.
negligence has nothing to do with
That I granted motion to eliminate. I don't even think some of these things.
trips that happened a year ago. That's crazy.
Or whatever's happening. I want to be clear on how far the door is open, because I also don't want to have this isn't a trial about she's charged with being immoral. Okay.
Of course,
So
she's
that's
charged
not-
with failure to adhere to her
I
parental
understand
duty.
that. I understand that.
The state is so desperate to try to make this case. It's ridiculous.
The first time Mr. Maloche was interviewed, he told him about the affair. The second time he was interviewed, he told him more about the affair. The third time he was interviewed, he told him even more about the affair. That's not his motive for changing the story. His motive for changing the story is because law enforcement put pressure on him and made him fear he'd lose his job.
All
That
right.
is completely inaccurate. Again,
Okay.
now we have to introduce witnesses.
Okay, I'm not addressing that right now. I'm addressing the now we're going to put in all this information about affairs.
I mean, the judge gets to decide what the heck they're going to put in. I don't understand why the judge is acting like the prosecutor runs the courtroom. I mean, this is insanity.
Defendant's wish, Judge. That's fine. But we are going to go through that door with the evidence.
I'm not privy to the information. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the police reports say. I don't know what he said about his relationship with her.
I think the judge decides whether that door's open or not. I mean, he thinks he's running the whole daggone trial. The judge is like, hey, whatever you want to do. It's crazy.
Whether law enforcement was appropriate with Mr. Maloche or not has been made an issue.
Yes.
But are we gonna have another week of trial about how terrible Mrs. Crumbley is? And
No, this is the same argument as when the court brought up the pictures of the home. Nobody's arguing that they're terrible or dirty. We're arguing that they were grossly negligent in adhering to the
I
parental
understand
duty
what
and
you're
it
arguing. That's why I
caused
want
death.
evidence to be relevant as to that.
And Judge, we stuck to the very fine line that this court gave us in the ruling. Counsel's the one who suggested, not suggested, but actually alleged that 2 investigators intimidated and lied.
I understand that. That has definitely been raised and definitely should be evaluated. But I don't know what else you're asking to present.
Well, at a minimum, those investigators have testified regarding their statements. At a bare minimum, Judge, there's a number of items found off the defendant's phone regarding the extramarital affair. The timing of that is important. And if you want us to stick to just what happened with Mr. Maloche, that's fine. But there is a vast amount of evidence to draw upon, and I'm uncomfortable at this point with the defendant saying, I guess maybe. I think she needs to speak with her attorney, and I think that record needs to be made clear.
We've already spoke about it, Your Honor. We've spoken about it extensively, and the affair is what an affair is. And if they want to sit here, it'll just make my case even stronger that all they're doing is punishing Mrs. Crumbley for the wrong things.
Okay, but I guess I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know. Only the defense and the prosecution know what's going to come out. So does she know the extent of what's going to come out? I don't. So
She knows the extent of what happened, and what's going to come out is going to be the truth about what happened.
okay.
And at this point, her life.
So I guess the defense's strategy here is to try to make Miss Crumbley look like she's being,
It doesn't mean that you know your child
you know,
is people.
Well, I
He's a-
understand your argument, but I think
it's dangerous, man.
It's relevant, and if it's relevant, is outweighed by its prejudice. So that's what I'm trying to do, sir.
well,
I
exactly.
think the affair is not the motive for Mr. Lodge to say that the police put pressure on him the way they did to change the statement.
I
But
understand you that. I don't know what's coming in beyond that. I don't know.
to be quite honest, they can bring wheelbarrows and stuff to show the affair. I mean, if anything, it just goes to my case to show they don't have a real case.
Okay, well, they say that there's evidence that when she should have been taken.
Yeah, well, the judge wants to protect her record, but I guess if you're going to let it in,
So I'm-
it's a moot issue in terms of appellate issues. My God.
Okay, I don't know what to say. I don't know what the evidence is to show. I'm not positive the jury has already figured that out anyway. Is it for the jury?
Yes?
All right.
All right, for the jury?
All right, maybe see it. Do you agree with Mr. Malash?
Please walk, Ms. Tyson.
Mr. Malash, you are still on the road, okay? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walsh, you were talking about the 3 different times that you spoke to police, correct? It's fair that from the very beginning, the first time you talked to police, you told police that you and Mrs. Crumbley had an extramarital affair, correct? You told police from the very beginning your relationship with Mrs. Crumbley involved a sexual relationship, correct? And so when you're in here testifying, it's fair to say that law enforcement talked to you about the affair right after the shooting. You told them all about it, right? I'm sorry.
Yes. Judge, counsel needs to be specific. She's saying law enforcement using general terms, and she needs to be specific in answering those questions.
Well, there's a lot of different law enforcement, so it probably would be good to be specific.
The first detective that you had an interview with, you told him that you and Mrs. Crumbley had had a sexual relationship.
Yes. But again, identify who she's speaking to.
Do you recall who the first, who was the first, which officer are you talking about?
Which one am I talking about?
Yeah, the first, you're asking him
Sure.
about the first one who interviewed him. I'm assuming you know who that is. There's lots of law enforcement.
I know, which is why I have a name.
Okay. Do you remember who it was initially, Mr. Walsh? Okay.
It appears to be Lieutenant Weir. Does that sound correct? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You talked to Brian Joseph the first time, correct?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Does it sound right if I said you spoke to Brian, to Joseph, I'm sorry, Brian, I'm saying your name. Okay. On 12/10, you went to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, the Brandon Township substation, correct?
Correct.
You were interviewed at approximately 15:30 hours, so that would have been, what, 3:30 in the afternoon?
Correct.
Okay. And on that day, I'm having a difficult time telling which detective it was that did that interview. It was during that interview, though, that you gave them a copy of your Facebook Messenger thread, correct?
Correct.
You gave it to them on a thumb drive?
Yeah.
And you specifically did turn that drive over to Sergeant Brian. Do you recall that?
I don't know.
Okay, if I said the person that you handed the thumb drive over to, was that the same person who did the interview with you?
Yes, they used the thumb drive on the computer.
Okay, I'm just checking. If the police report says you gave the thumb drive to Detective Joe Bryan, does that sound right?
I had no possession of the thumb drive. We were on a computer at the substation.
So he asked you for access to your messenger.
Correct.
You gave him access.
Correct.
And Detective Joe Bryan was the one who downloaded the messages.
I don't know the detective's name. I think Joe Bryan was a different interview.
Okay, so you don't know the name, but you know it was a detective at the substation from the Oakland Sheriff's Department.
Correct.
Okay. And on the report, I also see source Lieutenant Weir. I'm just having a hard time identifying which police officer it was. You're sure it was a police officer or a detective that you met with, correct?
Yeah.
And you're aware that that interview was video recorded, correct?
At the substation?
Yes.
I'm not aware.
And it was the interview that took place that was a little bit less than 2 hours.
Okay.
Okay, the day after that interview is when you
I
were...
understand it's cross-examination, but counsel can't just make a statement with the word correct at the end, and then the witness clearly not understand it and just move on as if that's the truth.
Okay,
We have to be
give
specific.
him a second to think about it and answer the question.
Okay, and I'm sorry, well, so, I don't remember my last question. I think it was just establishing a time frame. You did the interview on Friday, December 10th, 2021.
That's the first time.
Is that true?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and that was 1 week after the last time you had contact with Jennifer Crumbley.
Yes.
The first time when you spoke with the officer at the substation, you disclosed to them that you had knowledge about Jennifer Crumbley,
Yes.
and you said that you told them right away that you had had a sexual relationship with her.
Yes.
And the fact that you and Jennifer Crumbley had a sexual relationship is certainly something you did not want to be public, correct?
Correct.
You talked to police again, we talked about in February for an hour. Was that also at a substation?
The second interview?
Yes.
No, ma'am. That was at a building over here, part of the county complex.
So you met them at the county complex and you had the second interview, which was just under an hour long.
Correct.
When you had that second interview, now that was in February of 2022, you told them again, you confirmed for them again, as much as you probably didn't want to, I had a sexual relationship with Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
In the third interview, back in December, just a couple months ago, they asked you again for more information and you told them again you had a sexual relationship with Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
Now, the prosecution may ask you a lot of questions.
Just inform the question doesn't matter, but I asked not to.
I haven't even asked my
Okay, what's
question.
the question?
My question is, when you talked to law enforcement and you changed...
Again, I'm sorry, it's
Okay.
specific matter. Okay, so counsel's going to request these kind of questions from the witness. She has to be
I can't even
specific.
get my question out.
Okay, well, he needs to know, because there are 3 different times, so that'll help him too.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Over the course of the investigation, you testified earlier that your answers to certain questions have changed, correct?
Yes, I had.
You've added, okay. But one thing you have not changed, it's not the statements about your sexual relationship with Jennifer Crumbley. You've always said you had a sexual relationship.
Correct.
As police came and talked to you a second and a third time, they wanted more details about where you had sex and other details about those experiences, correct?
Correct.
Now, when I was asking you if you felt like you were threatened in any way, that had to do with feeling threatened that your job was at issue or that your benefits could be lost,
Judge, I'm
correct?
object again for the question. She needs to be specific. She's going to have something like threat. That needs to be specific.
Okay, then I'll go to the third interview, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
In
gotta
the-
be specific.
Okay, I'm gonna be very specific. In the third interview, when you talked to them in December, they specifically said to you, talked to you about your job employment as a firefighter, correct?
Correct.
They specifically talked to you about the details of your benefits, including your pension, correct?
Correct.
They made you feel like if you didn't give answers they
That's
wanted,
the form of the question. They made you feel. How could you possibly testify to what somebody else's intent was? That would be speculation.
I'll ask how he felt.
Okay.
When you were in that third interview, you were scared at the thought of losing your job or benefits.
No, I wasn't.
You do not
See, I
want to lose
think
your job or benefits.
No, I don't.
what she's trying to do here is because obviously this is literally the witness here that the state's depending on to make their case. So she wants to absolutely throw as much garbage at him as possible because of the fact that she said, I think my son might do something stupid, says that prior to arriving at the school,
Cross-examine him on statements. She can, but she can't make a broad statement about what they're
and
Well, they're kind of speculation, but you have
then goes to the school and doesn't take him out. So this is the witness right here
Specifically,
that
the officer talked to you about ranks.
is the most damaging.
They talked to you about seniorities, correct?
So she wants to damage him big time because what she's trying to imply here, I think, is that he never said that and then changed his story only because he was being threatened with losing his job and his pension. So
correct?
I mean,
18 minutes and 57 seconds in the third
it's a
interview.
gamble on how the jury interprets all
And when
this.
she told you that the cards should be on the table, I'm asking your impression, took that to mean that your job and your benefits could be on the line if you said anything favorable for Jennifer Crumbley.
Objection. He just answered that he wasn't threatened. He just was asked that question and said, no, I wasn't threatened.
Okay, was there a specific threat into you?
No, ma'am.
Was there any kind of veiled threat?
Hence why the prosecutor is fighting so hard here, because he doesn't want this witness to lose his credibility, because this is what their whole, this is their whole case right here.
What is veiled threats
Well,
mean?
I asked if there were
I know,
any.
but that's fine. Of course, it's fine to ask whatever the court
Okay, I
likes.
asked if there were any veiled threats, so that was his invitation to say, yes, they said that they would call my boss, so they said that they would, you know, make sure everyone in my union knew, whatever it is.
Those are all great questions to ask.
All right.
Okay. When you were interviewed in the third interview that lasted 2 hours and 45 minutes, it's fair to say you discussed far more than in the first and second interview with police.
Correct.
And when you were interviewed the first and second time with police, when it was closer to the shooting, you would agree with me that you were truthful in those interviews.
Yes.
And during those first and second interviews, you also, in between those two, wrote a statement that you typed out.
Yes.
Okay, so some of the information that you're saying now is only from, and I'll go through specifically what I mean. So when you were interviewed in those first and second interviews, you never said that you thought there was something wrong with Ethan or that he was disturbed, correct?
Correct.
And today when you're on the stand, you're saying you believe he was disturbed or there was something wrong, fair to say?
Yes.
And in part, the reason you have changed your opinion is from information the police told you when they did those interviews with you, correct?
That and through the media and everything else, additional information I gained around the situation of people.
So you got additional information from the police, which you don't know whether it's true or not, correct?
Correct.
And you would think the police are being truthful with you when they're telling you information.
Yes.
Okay, and if they're not being truthful with you, you're believing what they're saying anyway.
Yes.
And you agree with me because you just said you also saw a lot of media reports about various things in the case.
Correct.
Now, the media reports in the case have different information than things you initially thought or saw, correct?
Correct.
So when you've seen the media reports and you have a police officer telling you that the evidence you didn't know, it has made you second guess what you knew back right after the shooting, correct?
It didn't make me second guess. It just some of it because the timestamps allows me to recall stuff better.
Well, would you agree with me? And I know you said you testified you have some memory issues.
No, Joe,
that-
answer the question. He wasn't done answering the
I
question.
thought he was. I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
I don't.
You said there were timestamps.
Yeah, it helps if someone likes me, like if we go through messages, then I can actually, I remember things. I can remember, if you request specific information, I can give it. If someone just asks for something, I'll put out information not knowing what they're looking for. The more specific something gets, the more accurately I can answer the question or the more appropriately. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry if I'm not wording that correctly.
No, you're totally fine. I'm going to put your messages up on the screen. Can you please turn this on?
It's fine.
It's on. Can you please switch it over?
You might turn that.
I have to get this. Is the screen on up there? Okay, you and I would agree that when you sent these messages back in November and December of 2021, when these messages were sent, at that point you thought differently about the case than you do now.
Correct.
But the information you had at the time was information that you had personal knowledge about because you had just talked to Jennifer Crumbley and had just exchanged all these messages, correct?
Correct.
You would also agree with me that when somebody in the courtroom shows you one message without the context around it, sometimes it's difficult to remember all of what you were talking about, correct?
It can be correct.
So for example, the prosecution asked you about this message, okay, on page 53. And I'm going to go up a little bit, and then we're going to go through it to see if the answer might be different.
Okay.
When you testified to the prosecutor, you recall testifying that Jennifer Crumbley, you believe, told you to delete all your messages, correct? And I'm going to go down. I'm so
I was
sorry.
referring to what I read.
Okay, so 53, they just put up this text that says, clear your cache, I don't know, how do you say that? Okay, they didn't show you the messages before it or after it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so let's go up a little bit before it, okay? Prior to that conversation, so if we just go a little bit up in the messages, okay? Jennifer Crumbley says, and this is specifically on page 53, and I'll leave it still, I apologize. Jennifer Crumbley said, can you see if James's account is deactivated? Correct?
Correct.
Now by that, you knew she was meaning his Facebook account.
Correct.
So you said, and it's up on the screen, I'll check. Your next message to her, about a minute later, was, nope, still up, correct?
Correct.
Now, you would agree with me that you were responding to the message about, is James's account still up? His Facebook account.
But yes.
So while you were having this text conversation, you went in and checked to see if you could see James's Facebook page.
Correct.
Now, Jennifer says to you, and I'm going to just keep going further down, we just bought new phones with old numbers to take care of this shit, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, it's when she's trying to delete all social media accounts. You are aware of that, correct?
Yes.
And Jennifer types to you, and this is the message the prosecution brought in, clear your cache, correct?
Correct.
And you said, good move, correct?
Correct.
She says after clear your, I'm going to say cache because I don't really know how to say it. She says clear your cache, then check, okay? And you wrote cache cleared, it's still up, correct?
Correct.
By clear your cache, she was saying close Facebook and restart
Objection, Judge,
it.
again, speculation.
Well, it does call for speculation.
I can ask him what he thought it meant, I'm sorry. Okay, when she's trying to find out if his account has been effectively deactivated, what did you do to see if the account had been deactivated?
When it says I cleared my cache, it means that when Facebook cleared the cache, which keeps I don't know the computer terminology, but it tracks stuff and whatever, so like I would make it refresh, so I would get a fresh view.
So you wanted to refresh it to get a fresh view to see if the open account was then closed.
Correct.
So this is not about deleting messages. This is about checking the status of a Facebook account.
Objection, speculation.
I'm asking him if he
Well,
received it
ask him.
today.
Well, ask him.
Did you believe this message exchange was to find out if James's Facebook was closed?
Yes, that's what it looks like every day.
Okay, and then the conversation keeps going. Jennifer Crumbley says he can't get into it and we not deactive, or hot deactive. Do you see that?
Yes.
And Jennifer writes WTF. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then you wrote, whatever you did, the second attempt to deactivate your account worked. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, so looking at this now, then Jennifer says, so it's gone. And she says his, to specifically ask you, his Facebook account now is gone, correct?
Correct.
And you say, no, it's still up. Then you say his page is gone, right?
Correct.
Okay, so when we look at more context around that message, clear your cache, do you believe that the intent was to have you refresh to figure out if the Facebook account was active and had become deactivated?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, I am going to go through with you messages that were exchanged between yourself and Jennifer Crumbley back in November and December of last year, okay? They've been admitted and the prosecutor asked you about a few of the messages, okay? I will put the messages up on the screen, and if you need more context around what I'm showing you, I need you to tell me, okay? And I'm going to apologize in advance. Some of these are gonna go out of order. I'm gonna go in order of the messages, okay?
Okay.
So if my questions bounce around, it's because I just prepared them in a few minutes, okay? All right, so let's go to page 7, okay? Okay, and this is, okay, so on page number 7, after talking about, Jennifer's asking you, and I'm gonna have it right on the screen, is my Facebook page still showing I deactivated it, and you said you'll check, right?
Yes.
Okay, you told Jennifer you'll have plenty of threats, correct?
Correct.
And you told her at that point, I can still see your page, James's also, right?
Correct.
Okay, going down further, okay, so I'm gonna go to page 8 of this text thread, and you can tell me if I'm going too fast. Jennifer sent you screenshots, okay, and I see 1, 2, 3 screenshots. Those were threatening messages that she had received, correct?
It appears that way. I can't see it all.
And you told her right after that, that won't stop, and suggested to her, do not respond, correct? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, now, there is pages 8 through, after page 8, okay, there's a number of screenshots, okay, that you begin sending on page 11, okay? And so on page 11, you send 1, 2, 3 shots. Those are threats you found on her Facebook to make her aware of those, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then we go on to page 12. There's 3 more screenshots you sent to Jennifer showing her 3 more threats.
Correct.
Then, going down, okay, and I think the jury is getting this, page 13, 14, 15, and 16 all contain more individual threats against Jennifer, correct?
Correct.
And it's fair to say at that point, you knew people were threatening her and her husband.
Yes.
On page 16, you say, I
Hold
can't...
on, objection. If you can't even see them on the screen, how is this witness able to say correct to her affirmative question, this is a threat? The witness needs to say whether one, he can read it. If he can't read it, does he remember it independently? Because that's important to know.
Your Honor, if I knew this was
And even
gonna
can counsel read it.
Okay, yeah, ask the question, and, yeah, ask him the question.
Okay, my question is, those messages that you provided to Jennifer were to show Jennifer specific threats that you could see on her Facebook page, correct?
I would say that what was going on, bad things being said, anything like that, along those lines, there were a lot of people saying horrible things.
So some of them may not be a specific threat, but it's horrible things, correct?
Correct.
And overall, the things you are sending to Jennifer Crumbley, you, in your mind, want her to stay safe, correct?
Correct.
In the moment when you're sending her these texts, you are worried about her safety.
Make her aware of what's going on
Okay.
in the community.
And there was so much bad stuff, so many bad messages and threats and whatever else, that you said to her, I
Objection to the form of
can't...
the question, so much bad stuff, threats, whatever else.
Yeah,
Unless he has personal knowledge, that's a problem.
Well, we just haven't testified about the personal knowledge, so...
Okay, so you signed that, there's negative things in the past, there's a negative text, there's negative Facebook posts, and you're sending some of them to her.
Yes.
Okay, and it got to the point where you told Jennifer you couldn't keep up.
Yes.
There were that many.
Yes.
And again, on page 17, and I'm not gonna go through each one, but on 17 through 27, okay? So over the next 10 pages of screenshots, you're still sending, I called them bad messages, which is
Objection,
vague.
she can't refer to them as
If you know, what are they? if
What
you
are
know?
these?
What are they, if you know?
If there's screenshots that took off Facebook, it was things people were saying regarding them.
But unless he has specific recollection, Judge, he can't testify with personal knowledge. It's basically
During that time, were you sending her screenshots of anything else?
No.
Thank you. Now, when you and Jennifer were talking, if you need more context, let me know. I'm gonna ask you about some specific things, but I've got the whole thread up, okay? Jennifer says to you, and I'm on page 30 of the text, her reaction was, Ethan ruined his life, our lives, and multiple others. I don't even know how to absorb this, correct?
Correct.
That was a response she gave to you about her, feelings, as far as you could tell.
Yes.
Now, going further down, on page 31, she said to you, I'm in panic business mode, and I need legal help stat, correct?
Correct.
What was your impression, what is your belief panic business mode means?
I don't know. Looking at what I'm just trying to figure out, I don't understand what.
She goes on in her next text to talk about selling the horse, and in these texts, she ends up talking to you about what she's doing with her pets, correct?
Yeah, I don't see. I can just see with talking to Kara about for the horse.
It's-
I'm sorry, I don't.
No, that's okay, I don't wanna cut you off, and I'm sorry I didn't too. My question is, as Jennifer's texting you, it's obvious, and tell me if it's not, that she's trying to take care of various business
Objection.
related to their house and work.
speculation again.
If you know, what was she doing and telling you about this?
What I see right here is dealing with the horses. That's what I can see with this page.
Okay, we'll get to some of the other things later then. Now, when she mentioned getting an attorney, on page 32, you specifically asked her to defend you two or Ethan too, correct?
Correct.
And her response to you on page 32 was Ethan. Further, on page 32, Jennifer wrote to you, then there's the fact that the system failed. They should have never blown it off and made it seem of no concern and gave him the option to go back to class, correct?
Correct.
That does not say, I chose for him to go back to class.
Correct.
Jennifer Crumbley says it could have been prevented.
Correct.
Jennifer texts you or messages you, the whole conversation was very nonchalant. Oh, here's a list of counselors, but we don't see him as a threat. And we just agreed because he, capital letters, has never done anything wrong, correct?
Correct.
And when this text came in, you believed she was talking about the counseling meeting that you knew she had had at the school.
Correct.
And her description in this text is that they were nonchalant.
Correct.
And she, you know Jennifer Crumbley, you've dealt with her before, correct?
Correct.
In your opinion, knowing Jennifer, did she seem upset with the school?
It appears, yes.
She also goes on page 33 to say, I failed as a parent, I failed miserably, correct?
Correct.
Knowing Jennifer, did you believe she felt horrible? You wrote back to her in response to that comment, you didn't do this, correct?
Correct.
And on page 35, I'm scrolling down further, she lets you know, I'm scared, correct?
Correct.
And you say to her, I bet you literally need to disappear once you are free to do so, yes?
Yes.
Why were you suggesting that she needed to disappear?
Just because of the public, everybody knowing everything that's going on with their names and everything, you just can't be in the public once that your name's out like that.
So not being in the public, you were suggesting to her, you need to disappear in terms of not have the public see where you are, things like that, correct? On page 36, Mrs. Crumbley is talking to you a little bit more and mentions to you, my son did this. I still can't even figure out where his brain snapped, correct?
Correct.
That was what she said to you on December 1st, so the day after the shooting, correct?
Correct.
And your response to her, when she says she doesn't know how his brain snapped, was, I do not know, right?
Right.
You have no idea what could have happened.
Correct.
You have no idea or reason to see, personally, that something like a shooting was going to happen, right?
Correct.
So when you were testifying earlier that you had concerns that day and thought a shooting might happen, that's a new opinion you have that's different from this day when you were messaging Jennifer.
That was, I wasn't ever thinking a shooting was going to take place. I was thinking more he hurt himself.
So you never thought a shooting would take place at that time, after that time, or now?
Correct.
So if you were concerned about anything from any conversations with Jennifer, it was about him hurting himself.
Correct.
Jennifer goes on and she's talking to you further about her reaction to everything that happens. And on page 36, she tells you, I want to die. Is that fair?
Yes.
And on 36, you told her, be careful of anything you type on Messenger or text. It will all be subpoenaed and kept track of. The FBI is involved. They can access anything and everything, correct?
Correct.
And on that day, you were informing Jennifer, just know everything you say, law enforcement can get.
Correct.
And you were sending that because that's what you believed.
Correct.
And this is an example of everything they could get, correct?
Correct.
And at no time did Jennifer say to you, delete certain messages or anything, correct?
Correct.
And she didn't say to you, oh God, I gotta go delete all these messages, right?
Correct.
In fact, she just keeps texting you through the next couple days, through Facebook Messenger.
Correct.
Even after you gave her the advice, they're gonna get it all, yes?
Yes.
I'm going down to 39. And at 9:25 a.m. on 12/1, Jennifer Crumbley's told you that he is being arraigned and tried as an adult, watching it now. You would agree with me she's talking about her son at that point,
Yes.
the shooter.
Yes.
You told her you had just heard it and asked how she was doing.
Correct.
And her response at 9:26 was, I'm sick.
Correct.
And then I'm going down to page 40. I'm skipping a couple messages, but if you need me to go back, you can let me know. Trying to find a place to stay right now. Jennifer sent that to you at 9:47 in the morning. Yes?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that when she sent you this text and said trying to find a place to stay right now, you knew she could not go to her home.
Correct.
And you also would agree with me that this was at a time when there was lots of threats, as we've discussed.
Objection, again, specificity, and we've already talked about this.
There was negativity. There was lots of negativity, correct?
I think that's a determination for the jury to make.
Now, on page 41, you say to Jennifer, I'm glad you're safely out of the area. Jen, I can't even imagine being in your shoes. Why did you say those things?
Going back to like all the messages and everything where something involving her family or something happened and I can't. Yeah, you have to imagine me in your shoes like that, bro.
Now, going down, she's asking you if you've heard anything, any other rumors, correct?
Yes.
You're telling her, I haven't heard anything.
Correct.
And then she says to you on 12/1 at 11:10, we heard we may get charged too, correct?
Correct.
And your response at 11:12 was, that was mentioned on a news station. I don't know how both of you can be charged. I can only assume they will charge James with a handgun not being secured, correct?
Correct.
Now, at that point, there was a message that was unsent that said, it was, we had the string lock on it, came with the case, correct?
Hold on, objection, unsent, was deleted.
Right.
Okay,
So-
right.
Okay, so the message she sent you that was deleted is the, we had the string lock on it, came with the case.
Correct.
Okay, so Jennifer's representing to you, we have the gun locked.
That's a message I'm seeing now. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't,
that's the message you're seeing now, and that's the message the prosecution is saying she unsent you.
correct.
Objection, it's not the prosecution saying this,
Yes,
it's the
the
evidence.
expert, the expert who testified about
Thank you.
what happens to unsent messages.
Well, I don't believe that he would know the expert said, but Mr. Keeston's questioning said,
Okay, well, his objection was that you mischaracterized that.
okay, the message about we had the string lock on it, do you know what a string lock is?
There isn't a string lock, but I know what was being referenced to it. A
What?
cable lock was being referenced.
a cable lock?
Correct.
So the message to you does not say, oh my God, the gun was unlocked, right?
Right.
Even if she unsent the message to you and you never got it, the message says, we had the spring lock on
Yeah,
it.
it's deleted again. It's mischaracterizing the evidence.
It's unsent.
Well, no, it was sent and deleted, they retrieved it through extractions.
Okay, but I guess my point is, the message that was retracted does not say, we left it unlocked. That's what I'm asking.
That word, he can testify what the messages are. I introduced the exhibit. Edward Rogowski already testified what this means. So I think that's the sports
Okay, well, I think she switched to a different question. You didn't get a message from her but saying that the gun was unlocked.
Correct.
On page 44, there's another message that appears to be deleted, deleted or unsent. Which word would you prefer me to use? Deleted?
It's not my word,
Retracted?
Judge.
I'm asking you so
Asking
we
the
can avoid,
counsel.
pick a word.
I don't want to be addressed by counsel.
Okay, well, ask the question. Okay, there's another message that was sent and then.
Okay, there's another message that indicates it was unsent on page 44.
It would have been a message that he received, right? So it would have been a message he received.
Okay, so the message was, everything was secured, not loaded, bullets stored away separately. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Correct?
Correct.
Jennifer did not send you any messages that says, we were careless with that weapon.
Correct.
She did not send you any messages like, oh my God, we left it unlocked and left the bullets in it, correct?
Correct.
Your understanding of what Jennifer says is secured, not loaded, bullets stored away separately, correct?
Correct.
And she is saying, OMG, OMG, OMG. You agree with me, that means, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Jennifer goes on page 45 and says, there's an unsent message at 12:42, okay? And so the next message has the unsent message, and it reads,
Judge, I hate to keep doing this, but it's mischaracterizing the evidence.
Yeah, it was sent to him and he received it and then it was later deleted.
I guess I'm not understanding this on something. Okay, so there's a message Jennifer Crumbley deleted
That was first sent.
that was first sent.
So that was extracted.
So it's extracted, it was ultimately deleted. That message says, oh, no, I'll never be okay. I lost my son, and he's a murderer, and I'll forever have to live with the guilt of that, correct?
Correct.
And she says, I'm not even sure life is worth living anymore, correct? Jennifer Crumbley, at this point, from knowing her and receiving these texts, feels, from what you know of her as a person, you would believe she feels really, really, really awful.
Speculation.
Well, it was under speculation.
I asked him from what he knows of her.
Still speculation.
Jennifer also texted you, messaged
I
you,
think the jury can draw conclusions from it.
I have nothing left to live for, B was it. And I take it to mean he was it. I have nothing to live for, he was it. Does that message make sense to you?
Yeah, yes.
What is your understanding or belief about it?
Assuming that was he was it, that's what she was looking for.
On page 48, so I'm going down a little bit further. You gave her a warning at the top of that page about anyone that goes to your house will have their pictures, license plates, and identity plastered all over social media. People have lost their minds and need to rein it in before they get into trouble, correct?
Correct.
And you also said he wasn't, I've met him. That message is accurately displayed, correct?
Correct.
Okay, to give it some context, above that, Jennifer wrote to you, Ethan wasn't a bad kid, Brian. I'm 47, correct?
Yes.
And when you say he wasn't, I've met him, that's because you've met Ethan, correct?
Correct.
And you knew about Ethan from talking to Jennifer.
Yes.
So earlier today when you testified, you've never met Ethan. You actually have met Ethan.
Oh, I don't remember testifying about that.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you said you had met him. I apologize if I said it wrong. You continue on and say, I can't condone or justify what he did, but I do know that he wasn't a bad kid, correct?
Correct.
So from what you know from Jennifer, prior to any of this, she had never complained to you that he was a bad kid. She had never complained to you that he had any kind of mental health issues or suspected mental health issues. Jennifer's position on page 49, she says we will never be the same, and then her next text is, it's like mourning the death of my child, correct?
Correct.
It's fair to say that Mrs. Crumbley expressed sadness in these messages to you about her feelings with her son, correct?
Correct.
She expressed sadness about what happened to the victims and their families, correct? And the
Well,
whole...
objection to the characterization of this evidence, Judge. You can read what's on the text. You can't testify to what Jennifer Crumbley was trying to express there. Just words.
Did she ever state that? Like, did she ever state that in text?
Just what I'm reading here is, I'm reading it here, I'm sorry.
So these texts speak for themselves.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, and I apologize that I have to go through these one by one. I didn't have these before. I didn't know they were being used. Now that I know they're being used, they have important information the jury needs.
Okay.
Okay.
They're paying very close attention.
On page 49, Jennifer tells you, don't apologize, Ethan's life is over. I need to focus on saving ours. Staying out of jail and not going into a financial hole, correct?
Correct.
And then she says to you, I really need my giving phone back.
Correct.
Knowing Jennifer having texted with her many times, she meant fucking phone, correct?
Judge, again, Judge, you can't speculate.
He doesn't know.
I don't know.
Okay. You respond to her, yes, you support her in this, yes, you really need to focus on you, capital letters. Nothing you do and no attorney is keeping him out of multiple life sentences. You need to get an attorney to defend yourself, correct?
Correct.
Then you say you don't know how or what they'll charge, but they will try.
Correct.
And she says she's working on retaining an attorney.
Correct.
Now, she mentions to you on the bottom of page 50, they're saying involuntary manslaughter, correct?
Correct.
This is on December 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon? Or, no, I'm sorry, 1:30. Is that correct?
It's morning, isn't it? I believe that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. So it's at 1:30 in the morning, Jennifer says they're saying involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, the time's not correct. I'm sorry, the 1:31 p.m. is at UTC, right? We're going back, so it's like 9 in the morning? I'm just trying to clarify, so I don't
Yeah,
lose my head. I'm sorry.
The
I
que-
don't have
I
time.
have to be honest, I don't remember how that goes, the plus or minus, but ultimately, this text was sent to you before official charges were announced.
Yeah, it appears so, I don't.
So the basis of knowledge that you are relying on is what you're hearing in media and what people are telling you, correct?
Correct.
It appears on page 51 that Jennifer deleted another message that she sent you and deleted that says, "We're on the run again, helicopters, not sure where to, I'll message you," correct?
Correct.
Now, when Jennifer says to you, "We're on the run," she also verbally told you, "We're running away from the threats in the media."
Objection, I don't believe there's any evidence that they had any verbal conversation.
Yeah, I didn't hear him testify to that yet.
Well, I guess let me back up and ask a different question.
Okay.
Did Jennifer say anything to you that they were on the run, running from police?
Objection, say, you must be specific here.
Did you talk to her on the phone?
I don't recall.
Okay, so when she says helicopters, do you know what that means? And if you don't, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't.
Do you know why she typed that to you?
No, I'm really not sure.
Okay, and that's okay. That's okay, thank you. On page 54, Jennifer says to you that she's deleting accounts and deactivating accounts. She talks to you about that again, correct?
Yeah.
Now, on page 55, so going further down, we're on December 2nd, later that morning. I'm going in order in terms of your testimony. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay, so going down more, on page 55, we can agree that Jennifer told you she just got into her email and there's so many death threats and hate. I literally just want to die. That's what Jennifer says to you. It says on here at 12/2/21 at 5:23 p.m. UTC+0, correct?
Correct.
This is before the charges against Mrs. Crumbley were announced.
I believe so. I'm really having trouble with the dates. What day is this compared to shooting? I'm sorry. I'm getting
No, that's okay. The shooting was on November 30th.
30th? Okay.
Okay, and we're talking now
Two days
about
after.
December 2nd.
Okay,
And then,
2 days after.
just to make sure you have the context, on December 3rd, that was the day the press conference was held and Jennifer Crumbley was charged.
Okay.
Okay, so does that help
Yeah.
keep it straight? Okay. So she tells you that she got in her email. Okay, then the next thing she says on page 56, which is the next page, is that her texts are even worse, correct?
Correct.
On 59 through 61, there are a variety of screenshots that we see here. Did you see those as I went through on page 57?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see what they are, but I see you showing me screenshots.
That was going to be my question, and if you don't know, just tell me. Do you have any recollection of what those were?
I do not.
On page 59 through 61, you sent a variety more, it looks like screenshots. You don't remember what those specifically were, correct?
Correct.
Any messages that you were forwarding were negative towards Mrs. Crumbley. Is that fair?
I don't know what these are. I can't see them.
At that point in time, were you still seeing negativity on social media and in the public?
I don't recall.
On page 62, Jennifer says, "I need people who know us as parents to be behind us more than ever," correct?
Correct.
She never said something to you like, "I need you to lie for me," right?
Correct.
There's 3 more screenshots sent. Any idea about those?
No idea. Not about seeing.
Okay, then, on page 64, Mrs. Crumbley sends you some screenshots. Do you see those?
Yes.
Now, I do believe the next text after may refresh your memory on what those screenshots were. Jennifer Crumbley wrote, "This is what they found, a non-threat." When you were testifying earlier, you testified to the prosecution that that was when Mrs. Crumbley sent you copies of those the math worksheets.
Correct.
You began asking questions about the school and said they fucked up badly, correct?
Correct.
And she tells you there was a paper they showed that had things scratched out.
Yes, I see.
Okay, and towards the bottom of the page, Jennifer Crumbley says, and this is on December 3rd at 12:17 UTC+0, "No, counselor and dean were in the room. They have us counselors' names to call, but said they didn't see him as a threat and he could stay in school, which he wanted to do. His fucking backpack was with him. Why didn't they search it?" That's the text you received from Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
At that point, and at no point, you didn't say anything to Jennifer like, "This is your fault," correct?
Correct.
It was unfathomable that something so awful would happen.
Yeah.
On page 66, Jennifer continues to tell you different things by messages, and she says no officer was notified, and apparently there were threats, and no one, not even us, notified, correct?
Correct.
And you said, "I don't understand how the school was so nonchalant about this and prior threats," correct?
Correct.
You sent that text because your belief was there were prior threats that Mrs. Crumbley had never heard about.
I don't know. I just know what I'm writing here. I don't recall exactly.
Okay, fair enough. If Mrs. Crumbley and you had ever discussed prior threats she knew about, you would have said something to her like, "You knew Ethan had made prior threats," correct?
Correct.
You don't say anything like that to Mrs. Crumbley at this point.
Right. I don't.
Okay? And then Jennifer says, "I don't know, but it failed my son and 4 other families," correct?
Correct.
And then she says at the end of that page on 66, "Yes, but my child is alive, and he was responsible for, in capital lives, the loss of lives.
Correct.
I'm sick." Correct?
Correct.
On page 67, so I'm just going down further, he told you his eyes not right on his mugshot. That's not, in capital letters, my son. Is that correct?
Correct.
You responded, "I said the same thing. That does not, in capital letters, look like Ethan."
Correct.
Why did you say that?
I'm going to say because it doesn't look like
At that point, were you feeling shocked in any way?
I was shocked about the whole thing. I can't.
Now, on 68, you end up telling Jennifer, it's so sad, I'm so sorry, and thinking about you nonstop, correct?
Correct.
It's fair to say that you wrote that because you were so sad, you did feel so sorry, and you were thinking about her, and everything was happening nonstop.
Yeah.
Jennifer responds about how she's doing when you ask her, are you even sleeping, correct?
Correct.
And she says no. You say, I figured, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm on page 69 now. She says, I haven't slept in 3 days, and I have been eating the same quesadilla for 3 days, correct?
Correct.
You told her you need food and sleep, and I'm sure it will take days before you can do either, correct?
Correct.
You said that because you could tell the person you knew felt really bad.
Correct.
Jennifer then says, I'll have plenty of time on jail, correct?
Correct.
You know Jennifer to be a sarcastic person, correct?
Correct.
You would agree with me, and if you don't, please let us know. That was a sarcastic remark on her part.
You can't agree with that, just speculative.
You know?
I don't know. Look ridiculous.
On this date, back on December 3rd, you wrote, your attorney will prevent that. I'm still very pissed off at the prosecutor and system for charging you two. They are doing it to appease the public. That's called a witch hunt, not justice, correct?
Correct.
And to that, Jennifer replied, I'd rather die than go to jail, correct?
Correct.
Not the first time throughout this thread she said she wants to die.
Correct.
As the text thread continues, on page 72, I'm going down, but again, if you need me to slow down, let me know. Although we're going slow. She said, you've helped us a ton, just being a friend and not judging has helped. Your remarks within those messages not text, was I'm trying my best. That's what real friends do, correct?
Correct.
At that point in time, on December 3rd, 2021, you would characterize yourself as real friends with Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
And James Crumbley.
Correct.
Following that, there's discussion about horses on 72. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Sarah sent me pics of the boys. You know she's talking about animals.
Correct.
On page 73, she indicates to you, yeah, we're painted out to be monsters, and I can't defend myself because we're fearing our lives. Correct?
Correct.
So on December 3rd, the day charges are announced, Jennifer is saying that she's painted out to be a monster.
Correct.
You end up responding to her, and I have to ask, is this sometime in the afternoon?
Are we asking these messages right here?
Yeah, I'm asking, what's your memory of when these messages were?
It showed almost 2 p.m., so I have to back that up 5 hours, correct? I don't know how to do UTC. I know it's 5 hours, I'm not sure how that is.
So-
They put it at 9 in the morning.
Okay,
I
well,
don't know.
it's sometime that day, and obviously the times, we can sort this out later. They're on the text, right?
Yeah.
On the messages. And you said you have more support than you think, but right now, anyone who publicly defends you and James gets exposed, crucified, and threatened. I've been defending you and explaining to anyone who contacts me privately, correct?
Correct.
You were defending her, knowing that there was a lot in the media and things people were saying that are not true about Jennifer Crumbley.
Objection to the vagueness of the question, Judge.
Well, I think kind of what was in this one.
That's you.
I guess I'll ask you, why did you say that you felt like anyone who publicly defended her and James was exposed, crucified, and threatened? What did you mean by that?
That, it was such a horrific incident that nobody could possibly stand up for anything that has to do with other than the loss of life and anything. That's the only way you can say anything about that. You can't try doing anything any other way about that.
So it's fair to say you certainly didn't want to make public statements that you were friends with Jennifer, correct?
Correct.
And at that point, Jennifer says, I know, thank you, I don't want anyone in danger, correct?
Correct.
And further down, I'm on page, let's see here, 74. This is at December 3rd, 2021 at 2:36 p.m. UTC plus 0, so we'll calculate that out later. At that time, she says, not yet, waiting on my lawyer, correct?
Correct.
Now, that was in response to your question, have they advised you of all charges? Have they issued warrants, right?
Correct.
So her response, not yet, waiting on my lawyer, that was the response she sent to you. And at that point, you wrote to her, follow his or her advice carefully. Do not fuck yourselves. Be careful, Jen, and my thoughts are with you. Why were you telling her not to fuck herself?
Just to make sure she followed legal counsel advice.
And
Not
from
do anything else.
from all of the messages you had with her or any communications, Jennifer Crumbley never said to you, I don't plan to follow my lawyer's advice, correct?
Correct.
Jennifer Crumbley never said, I'm going to lie about things.
Correct.
After that, there's some exchanges on page 75, 76 about reaching out to her, talking about money with Kira. Do you recall those messages?
Yes.
So at that point, you were trying to assist her in selling the horses.
Correct.
And ultimately, this is towards the end of the messages, the end of your communication with Jennifer Crumbley, correct?
Believe so.
Okay. She gave you lawyer's number, and then there's a phone number. If we need to do any type of legal sale of the horses that Kira needs, I can't get into my house to get the papers, correct?
Correct.
You tell her I'll put it in my phone, meaning you'll put the lawyer's number in your phone. Is that right?
Correct.
So at that point, you did save the number for the lawyer in your telephone. Is that a fair statement?
I don't know.
Okay. You said you were going to do that at 4:13 and 35 seconds, UTC plus 0, at whatever time that is, correct?
Correct.
You told her, I'll message her as soon as I get home. Do you want to call me? And she says to you, send me your number, correct?
Correct.
At that point, Jennifer did not have the, if you know, and if you don't know, you can let me know. Do you know why she was asking you for your phone number?
I don't.
The last message you got from Jennifer Crumbley was on December 3rd, 2021 at 5:57 and 25 seconds, UTC plus 0. That was the last message you heard from Jennifer Crumbley.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I don't know. I can't see what. Yes.
Would it be fair to say that the last message you sent to her was this last message we see on the thread, any chance that your neighbor can get the papers for the horses? I can sign them, Kira seems to really want those purchases.
Yes.
I have to ask you just a couple of quick questions about your relationship with Mrs. Crumbley. When you and Mrs. Crumbley spent time together, most of the time, what part of the day was it?
Morning.
Was it mornings of work days or weekends, if you know?
Work days.
Okay, and I'm sorry to invade private details, but approximately, did you have a usual time that you would see each other?
I don't recall. Normal time.
During those times, you're not aware of where Jennifer Crumbley's son would be?
School. I don't.
So it would be fair to say that times you and Jennifer Crumbley were together were when her son would have been school days, correct?
Correct.
In terms of the extent of your relationship, were there many trips or overnights or things like that?
No.
That if it ever did happen, was very minimal, correct?
Correct.
And at the end of the day, despite the fact that you and Mrs. Crumbley may have had an affair, you never believed that Mrs. Crumbley didn't care about her son, correct?
Correct.
Her relationship with you was very separate from her relationship with her child.
Correct.
And the amount of time that she spent with you was very minimal compared to the amount of time you knew she'd be at home and with her son and doing other
That's not
things.
speculation, unless he has a lot of details.
Yeah, that, he didn't say that, no.
Okay, I can ask a better question. Throughout the days, while you and Mrs. Crumbley would talk to one another, you would frequently tell each other what you were doing as the day went on, correct?
Yeah.
I guess overall, during a typical week in 2021, how many times would you say you would see Jennifer Crumbley in person?
Once, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so we're not,
In 21 times.
so we're not talking every day or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. I just have to communicate with you.
As soon as I saw in the news that that the warrants were issued and they were being apprehended, but not.
So that's it? Okay. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear. You're not accusing anyone in law enforcement of threatening you, are you?
No.
Okay. And in fact, when you interviewed with investigator Mike Thomas December of 2023, he actually referred to you as brother. Would that be right?
Correct.
And you guys left the interview with exchanging phone numbers, and you actually called him the
Your
next
Honor, I would ask that the leading question stop.
day. Okay. So what was the tenor of that conversation? Was it an interrogation? Was his voice elevated like mine, or was he calm?
It went back and forth. It varied.
Okay. Did you feel like you were being yelled at?
At some point.
So one point he asked you about your pension. I'm going to look at the transcript here. When he first introduced himself to you, he was talking about you, how long you've been a firefighter, and your answer was, here 21 and a half years. He said, okay. And I worked for Independence, and I was on call for 7 hours before here. And then Mr. Thomas said, pensioner, straightforward what? She asked specifically if he was threatened that his pension would be revoked. I think it's important that the jury understands what that context was.
Your Honor, all I'm asking for is that I get the chance for recross, because the prosecutor's going to pick tiny parts of this transcript and not the whole thing. That's a problem.
Hold on, yeah.
No, I don't have the transcript.
She has, okay, first of all, the allegation of picking tiny parts, she accused 2 veteran officers of threatening when this witness said, no, he wasn't threatened. And I think it's important for me to go through that transcript, that interview, to talk about the portion that she brought up.
First of all, he can pick whatever questions he wants on there. He doesn't have to, he can ask whatever he wants about that. You don't have a transcript.
I don't.
She can make her own transcript. She's
I
a
don't.
attorney.
It's fine.
Okay, wait, you have,
I've seen the audio. I took my notes from it.
okay,
Okay.
all right.
So, okay.
You've seen the interview.
Yes.
Yeah. Your pension is straightforward one. You said pension. How much longer you got? 3.5. You got a COLA, cost of living out of it? Your response, yeah. What's your COLA? Oh, I don't know what it is now. I think it's, what's your multiplier? 2.8. Was he threatening to take your pension away?
No.
Okay. Did you ever feel like he was going to have your job taken from you?
No.
Okay. You were asked, Mr. Thomas asked you about the importance for the truth. Now, as a veteran firefighter, are you surprised that law enforcement wanted to gather the truth?
No.
Okay. And in fact, you agreed.
Your Honor, I would ask objection to leading questions.
Judge,
You
on
agree.
redirect, I am entitled to some leeway, especially in light of what counsel asked.
Not to leading questions.
Okay, let's not ask leading
Okay,
questions.
well, that didn't suggest the answer.
I know you can do it, Mr. Case.
All right. Sir, you were interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And in December of 2021 was the first interview?
Yes.
Okay. So you were asked specifically about certain things that were said in that interview. And you did tell the police in that interview that she said she was worried he might hurt himself or something like that. That was actually your type statement.
Yes.
Okay. And you repeated that again in December of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And then you testified that today? That's never changed. Correct. All right. So the very first interview you had with law
Your
enforcement.
Honor, objection to leading questions.
I didn't even ask the question.
Okay.
The last 3 were
He
leading.
asked him, did you make this a statement in your written, did you say this in your written statement? Yes. Did you put the statement, did you testify to this? Yes. So I don't think that was leading.
Okay. You told the police in December of 2021 about an extramarital affair.
That's leading.
What did you tell the police about your relationship with Jennifer Crumbley?
Correct.
What did you tell the police?
Extramarital.
Okay. Did you give all the details?
No.
Okay. Did you tell the police how many times a week you would meet her?
No.
Okay. Did you tell the police about trips and specific times during the week?
No.
Okay. Now, why didn't you give all of those details in December of 2021?
Because I don't want those made public.
Okay. Are you happy about being here today?
No.
Okay. What was your thought in withholding some of that information?
That it would protect people in my life, other people in my life, my family, my wife.
I imagine you've had some conversations since that time.
Yes.
Did you know how Jennifer Crumbley parented?
No.
Okay. Was that ever a topic of conversation?
No.
But you do know that you met her in a Costco parking lot across the street from her employer. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that would happen, as counsel said, during the work days?
Correct.
And during work hours?
Correct.
Okay. And do you recall how often that would happen, but was it a regular thing?
Yes.
You also told us that Jennifer Crumbley in that Facebook post told you she had a string lock. Is there such a thing as a string lock?
No.
Okay. You also told us that she told you that her son's friend committed suicide, and that the school didn't send her the original drawing. That's all those Facebook posts,
Yes.
correct? Okay. And did you come to learn that those 3 things were actually not true?
Yes.
Now, did Jennifer ever tell you the details about that meeting with the school?
Not that I recall.
Did she ever tell you anything about her son in the spring of 2021?
No.
Did she ever tell you anything specifically about March 9th, 17th, 20th, 21st, 2021?
No.
Did she ever tell you about anything with her son's life in April of 2021?
No.
Did she ever tell you anything about her life in June of 2021?
No.
Okay. Did she ever tell you that she didn't have to be at a meeting later in the day on November the 30th, 2021?
No.
In fact, she was able to leave work to meet you when it pleased her.
Yes.
Sir, when you were subpoenaed, you were told that we were not going to bring out the extra is that correct?
Your Honor, objection. As far as it goes with legal issues, that is not appropriate questions in front of the jury.
Why is that not inappropriate?
Because the prosecution is trying to allege that I'm doing something, that I've done something to put this witness in a bad spot, when the evidence in this case requires the jury know all the information.
I think his question is directed at the fact that Mr. Melange was probably taken off guard when he testified today. Isn't that what your question is about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you didn't know you were going to ask those things.
No.
Okay. Jennifer wrote to you that she felt like she failed as a parent
That was
in the messages, yes. But she didn't tell you any of the specificity and the details regarding that.
No.
So she didn't tell you anything about the background of her son and her husband.
No.
And again, I just want to make something crystal clear. In the interviews you had with law enforcement, nobody ever told you that you would be fired. Correct. No one ever told you that you had the risk of being fired.
Correct.
What were you told to do when you came to court today?
Tell the truth.
Okay. And have you told the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Your Honor, I have two questions.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Malash, it's fair to say, you testified earlier, you have memory issues.
Yes.
Okay, describe those memory issues for this jury.
Judge, that's an ask and answer. It's beyond the scope of my redirect. And unless we're going to go through all of our consistent statements.
I'll withdraw that question. I'll withdraw the question. Earlier when you testified, and this is my last question, you did say you had feelings that there was pressure on you about certain areas of your life being affected by your statements to police,
Well,
correct?
that's mischaracterizing the testimony. He testified multiple times. He was not threatened.
Okay, well, she didn't ask that.
I
She
asked
did ask
it.
that.
Well,
I did
you know,
ask that.
I got some, a little bit of inconsistent. I don't know if it's testimony or vibe from you. Did you, at any point, you said the police didn't threaten you, but,
There were veiled threats.
well, I asked that. Did you feel like there were any veiled threats? He said yes, but he did tell me what those were. So, you know, did you feel pressure to tell the police some things? And if so, what were those pressures? You said that your job wasn't threatened.
Yes, Your Honor. Can I specify what I was trying to clarify?
Please.
I was trying to clarify. I felt I was guarding myself in my statements, and being the investigator was pushing it and inferring that this would all get out, which it has now. With what was going on, he didn't threaten my job. He was asking questions that were professionally related. So I know he was trying to establish some sort of rapport with me because he worked in law enforcement, so he asked about pensions. He did get more aggressive with it, and it was threatening, as in personal information getting out about me out in the open to the public and stuff. But did that help?
Okay, do you either have any questions based on that?
I do. Did he ever tell you to say something that wasn't true?
No.
Okay. You're told to tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else?
You were asked questions repeatedly, the same question over and over, as we've done in this courtroom today, correct? Thank you.
All right, I'm going to let you step down from your excuse. Okay, tell me what we're doing next.
Wait, wait, wait.
Did you guys need a break? How long is this witness speaking?
I'd say the director's about 30 minutes.
Okay. All right, I'm going to excuse you until 4 o'clock. Okay?
All right, for the jury.
Wait, we can go check the jury seats.
Yeah. I would ask you something. Be seated. Before the trial started, there was some issues raised about privileged records of the shooter and Fifth Amendment rights of the shooter. And I've had some filings from DACA's lawyers, from the lawyer for the shooter, and also by Ms. Smith. So she filed something, and I know that you responded today to it. I guess I feel like I've ruled on those issues, but I wanted to give you guys as much opportunity as possible because, as we've established, there is not a lot of law in this area, and I personally not found any law that would allow me to pierce a privilege possessed by the shooter. But that being said, I think you filed a response, and then there was maybe a confidential attachment to that maybe was directed at some of the contents of the privileged documents. But I have not received that. That's a long short of it, as I have not received that. So if I haven't read something else, you know that. So.
One moment.
If we can check on the status of this.
Okay.
Sometimes you would.
Okay. Okay, so what else? Do you want to approach about something?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To December 3rd of 2021, of introducing you to the jury.
Please state your name for the record and spell your first and last name.
No problem. My name is William Creer. William Thomas Spelling. Creer spelled C-R-E-E-R.
All right. I misspoke and called you officer, which is probably a good way of introducing you to the jury, but I'm just going to call you Mr. Creer.
That's fine.
You are not an officer. What is your title?
Forensic technician.
And who do you work for?
Detroit City of Detroit Police Department.
Okay, can you explain to the jury how you work for the City of Detroit Police Department, but you're not an officer?
I'm a crime scene investigator. They send me out to scenes. I collect the evidence. I take pictures. I package the evidence. And that's why I work.
And how long have you been doing that?
20 years.
So is your title forensic lab tech?
No, just forensic technician. There's a difference. Latex, actually, the people that test the evidence I collect, I just go collect the evidence.
Okay, you don't work in that.
No.
Okay. So is it correct to say that you're a civilian working for the police department?
Yes, sir.
All right. I want to direct your attention to December 3rd of 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yes, sir.
Were you working?
Yes, sir.
Were you at some point dispatched to a building with the address of 1111 Bellevue in Detroit?
Yes, sir.
And were you made aware there was a search warrant being executed at this location?
Yes, it was.
Okay, how many times have you, roughly can you estimate, gone to a crime scene and collected evidence?
No, a lot.
Okay.
With an actual number, more than a thousand.
Okay. Did you go with anybody or were you by yourself?
I have partner.
Okay, and what was your partner's name?
Forensic technician, routine technician, Stephanie Sparks.
What were your initial thoughts as you headed to the location?
We made my partner and I went to the location. It was just a normal search warrant, collect a picture, take pictures, collect evidence. And then when we arrived at the scene location, saw media cameras. And that's when we figured, okay, this is going to be a little bit more than a normal search warrant.
Okay. Who did you speak to when you arrived on scene?
Lieutenant Hall.
And why Lieutenant Hall?
He was the highest ranking officer at the scene when we arrived, and we got the request over the radio. He was the one that dispatched the He also dispatched the request for the scene process.
Okay, and what did he ask you to do?
When we arrived at the scene, we went into the building, and that's when we were made aware that this was regarding the Crumbley case, and we were going to execute the search warrant.
Okay, is it correct to say that you processed the scene? Is that how you described it here?
That's exactly how it was right.
Okay, and when you process the scene, some crime scenes, does that mean something, the depth in which you perform those duties, does it differ depending on what the law enforcement wants you to do, or is it the same every time?
We work hand in hand with law enforcement officer in charge who goes in, or has already secured the scene with the other officers. By the time we arrive, they have an idea of evidence they want collected. When we arrive, we do a walkthrough with the officer in charge, or the detective, or the highest ranking officer on that particular scene. We do a walkthrough, he points out evidence that's important to be collected. While we do our walkthrough, my partner, or when I'm working with that, they will point out items that we believe might want to be collected. And then at that point, we start taking pictures, documenting the scene, and collecting evidence.
Okay, so do you only collect evidence they point out you need to collect this, or do you determine based on your own experience what you should collect? And how do you ever collect anything that's not visible when you first walk in and law enforcement directs you to?
After we do a search for the walkthrough with the investigator, and then if they give us permission, we agree that we're going to do a more thorough search and see some items that we might want to look at a little more thorough, then we will do additional searches.
Okay, so the items that you find, does that sometimes, does that lead you to the other parts of the scene that you want to search, or do you search only what the law enforcement tells you to?
Again, depending on how things are. In this particular scene, use this particular scene
Yes,
as an example. They had already initiated their search. They already found items they wanted. At this point, they said, if there's any additional items you to see or want to go over, and that.
Okay, so you were given free reign of the entire room?
Yes.
Okay. Is it part of your protocol to just collect what you see out in the open, or do you actually do you conduct searches?
We conduct searches to the case.
Okay, is that something routine, or is that unusual?
It varies by scene.
Okay, when you walked into the room, what did you observe?
Again, search warrant had already been executed. We took our overall picture of the scene. We saw items that were already collected from or found by law enforcement. There was foodstuffs on the table, just as you directly in front of you as you entered the room. Mattress and clothes scattered around the room that already been found.
Okay, I'm going to show you pictures in just a moment, but I wanted, with your permission, get a little bit more detail about the things that you first discovered. When you just said you saw some food stuff. Do you remember specifically what you saw?
I believe bananas, general orange juice, let's say maybe alcohol, let's say possibly vodka. That's all I can work on.
Okay, did you see anything else that stands out to you right now?
No.
Okay, okay, I'm going to show you well, before I do that, could you describe, what did you think that room was when you walked into it?
When I walked into it, I was an art studio of some guy.
Okay.
So I remember seeing portraits and just art stuff around the room,
Right.
Tables, kind of like front glass or something like that.
All right, did you see anything else on the floor?
Saw mattress.
And what did you think of that?
Bring somebody to the mattress.
Well, I'm sorry, so you
That looks like somebody sleeping on a mattress.
Okay, I'm not sure, I know I didn't answer this. Did you have contact with Jennifer James Crumbley when you were searching the room?
No, at that time. They had already been arrested. We've taken over the country.
Okay, so you didn't see them?
No.
All right, so I'm going to show
I
you.
have to do with that.
Right, we're going to get to that. Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures, and then I'm going to pull out just 2 or 3 things just for demonstrative purposes for the jury. But these are photographs, exhibits 348 through 400. I'm sorry, 348 through 400. So on the exhibit list, they're listed from 348 and
The 348.
Through the description.
351 previously committed to keep it right.
I'm just checking. We have no objections on these. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so can you tell the jury, I'm going to just go through the pictures, and you can, if you will, just describe what we're looking at.
That's the scene location.
I'm sorry, Mr. Greer, about what time did you arrive on scene?
Around 2:40.
AM?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you just working the night shift, or were you at home, or where were you?
I was assigned a midnight shift.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so this is what?
That would be the scene, the crime scene location.
It should be on your monitor, is it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, great.
I'm just so used to it.
Yeah. All right,
That's the scene on Bellevue. That's another angle of the scene on Bellevue.
okay. Can you go back one? Can you see the windows of the art studio that you searched in that photo?
I don't recall.
Okay, next photo. Does this look familiar to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the jury what this is?
So those are reporters that someone were pulling up and he asked them to move to the pictures.
Okay, is that something common that you encountered?
Yes.
Okay, next. What is that?
Again, we're at the crime scene location, the exterior shot.
Okay, and the next.
That would be the vehicle we're also allowed to requested to photograph.
Okay, so did you take these photos?
Oh, no, prior to these photos.
Were you there when she took them?
Yes, I was.
Okay, what is that?
If you zoom in, you can see cigarette butts that we were collected, that were requested to collect.
Okay. And what are we looking at?
With more cigarette butts were requested to collect.
Did you know why you were requested to collect those?
Because of possibly getting aliens.
Okay, next. What is this?
That would be Suite 130, the crime scene location.
So the art studio was Suite 130, or actually, it's 130 the art studio you searched?
130 is our studio. We searched the actual crime scene address was 1111 building.
So the building was 1111 Bellevue?
Yes.
Okay, and the art studio was what?
130.
Okay. What is this?
That's inside Suite 130.
All right, and the next picture?
Again, we're inside Suite 130. These are overall shots of the entire room to get an idea of the items in the room and the room in general.
Where, in relation to the door to the studio, is there one door or more than one
There
door?
was just one door in the house.
Okay, where in relation, in this photo, where's the door?
The door is, from this angle, the door is directly behind into the left.
Okay, and the next.
Again, we're kind of searching the room with our shots.
Okay.
Again, the door is behind it, it's pointing behind it to the right.
Okay. What is this?
Again, we're taking overall room. The door is directly behind us, and we're taking a shot across the room.
Do you see a mattress in this photo?
No, but if you go back, I believe you can see the mattress there, bottom of the screen, the two drawers on top of the mattress.
Okay. Right, and the next photo?
Again, that's a shot from across the room. The door in and out of the room is directly behind the part of the clothes.
Okay. And the next one is 360. This is just a different view.
It's different, different angle.
Is that the mattress there in the right bottom corner?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you put those drawers? Are those drawers?
I believe the drawers, they were already there at the time that we arrived.
Okay. And 361.
And then you have the photo of the mattress and the drawers.
And the next. Okay, what is this?
Now we're circling around the photo of the mattress, applied object, and whatever cover that the mattress was resting on.
Okay, in a minute we're gonna get to the actual items individually, photos. But did you take pictures of those individually at some point?
I would have to look at the pictures to make sure I'm picture again.
Okay. And what's your recollection? What is that? You said it's an item. Is it a blanket? Is it a piece of clothing? Is it something else?
I believe it's a clothing sweatshirt.
Okay. 364. What is this?
Again, we're circling the room. As you see at the top right-hand corner, that's a table with the food items on it. You see the orange juice at the top right corner and a bottle of Coke. Bottom left corner of the room got a Snipes clothing bag.
Okay, right next to the orange juice, that circular object on the counter there. What is that?
Right next to it, say it again?
There.
Oh, those are solo cups.
Okay.
Or plastic cups.
365. What is this?
Oh, it's a photo of the clothes of the Snipes bag.
Okay, can you tell the jury what those are?
A few pairs of socks, a sweatshirt, and again, you have the flag item and the baseball cap that was in the previous pictures.
Okay, and are the socks attached to anything?
They're attached to, just like we buy them in the store, the paper that will connect them on the socks.
So they're new.
Yes. There's also the receipt in the picture, just by the sweatshirt.
Okay. And do you, I think there's a closer photo of that actual receipt, which we'll get to. 366. What is that?
This will be again by the mattress. Between the mattress and the shelf is like a pink shelf.
Okay. 367.
And there's a better picture of the picture.
So did you or somebody else take it and put it laid out like that?
Yes.
Okay. 368. What is this?
It's another shirt.
Where was that found?
Can't quite remember off the top.
Okay. Do you need to see? Did you read a report?
I did read a report.
Right. Would that refresh your recollection?
It would.
Okay. May I have a report?
Sure. Thank you. Yes, it was in one of the plastic bins.
Okay. Do you? That shirt was in a plastic bin?
Yes.
Okay. I think if we proceed through the photos, this will make a little more sense. Okay. Is that a plastic bin?
That is one of the plastic bins. Yes.
Okay. How many total plastic bins did you find items of interest in this search?
I believe two plastic bins were during the search.
Okay. Were they in the same place or were two different places?
They were two different places.
Okay. Where was that plastic bin?
That plastic bin was along the north wall of the room, under the table with food items on it.
Under the table, right there.
Right.
And so, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the mattress on the other side of this table?
The mattress is on the other side of the table. Yes.
Okay. Was the plastic bin found like that with the lid off and the backpack sitting up?
You know, we looked at it, it looked funny, just out of place under the table, we moved it. The top was kind of ajar, and that's what we found a bag and a lid.
Okay. And we're gonna get to the contents of what was in that backpack in a moment. Can you look at 370? Okay. What is this?
Again, that's the table with all the food items.
All right. Can you describe to the jury what you see? All the items there that are on the counter.
Probably you have the bananas, you have orange, potato orange juice, potato burners, special a box of special K, and bottle of water, along with some solo cups or solo light cups.
Okay. I see some paper towel there.
Yeah, there's straight up, and box Kleenex.
And Mr. Keys is gonna sort of highlight some of the other items that you asked me what those are. You know what is that?
A box of campfire makeup.
Okay. Do you want to look at your report?
Yeah.
That refresh your recollection?
My report says food stuff items.
Okay.
Food items, plastic cups.
Okay.
Paper, food items, plastic cups, and plasticware.
Okay. So those are boxed something.
Yes.
Okay. If I told you that says Lara Bar on it, would you have reason to dispute that?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay. They're granola bars.
Okay.
They're energy bars.
Okay.
Okay. So you've never had a Lara Bar.
I've never had a water.
Okay. What is the next item Mr. Keys is showing with the magnifier? You know,
Bottle of lotion or something.
is it lotion or is it shampoo?
I believe it was lotion.
Okay. What is that?
I'm not sure.
What does the bottle say?
Real?
Minute Maid?
Oh, you're talking about plastic bottle
Yes.
behind?
Yes.
Yes, a minute.
Okay. And then there are two other cups right there.
Yes.
Was that the way you found it, or?
That is exactly how I found the word.
Okay. All right. Next. This is what?
That is again a plastic bag with a pink little bag inside.
Okay. And the next one. What is that?
It's a plastic bag removed from the plastic bag. I mean, the pink bag removed from the plastic bag.
Okay. What are the items to the left?
Those are we started removing outside the plastic bag.
Okay.
I mean, pink bag.
And what did you describe to the jury what you found in the pink backpack?
In the pink backpack, there was a second bag of various clothes.
What kind of clothes?
Intimate clothes, underwear, I would say.
Okay. Men's underwear or ladies' underwear?
Ladies' underwear.
Do you know how many pairs?
About 4 pairs.
Okay. And that gray item next to the pink backpack to the upper left, what is that?
That's just another bag that was inside the.
Okay. And 373. What is this?
Again, we have another angle of the pink bag, the gray bag, and a pair of pants that was also inside the bag.
Okay. And 374.
We have another angle of the pink bag and a pair of dark pants.
Okay. The green bag underneath the pants, was that found in the yes? Was that found in the backpack?
Yes.
What did it have inside of it?
No problem.
Okay, I'll hand it to you in a minute.
Okay.
Next one?
Again, we have a picture of the brand of pants, the fact that they're stretch, and the size. On the tag, goes with the false proof.
Okay, and the next slide? What's this?
Again, we have more intimate items, intimate clothing items, and a plastic bag with,
That's a business card?
yes,
Okay, and what's next to it?
several pills inside the container. These are caffeine pills.
All right, and the next picture?
Again, we have a closer picture of the business card and the pills.
Okay, and then 378. What is this?
It was an ointment container and an injectable medication. So
And where was it found?
it was all that was in the plastic bag, which was inside the pink book bag.
Okay, were you able to determine whether those were for human beings or horses?
For horses.
Okay, and the next slide?
We have another picture of the female clothing and more clothes. And also bring back to that.
What is this?
It's a key card
And what is,
for an extended stay area.
okay, where'd you find that?
It was inside of the jacket over the chair. If you go back, way back at the beginning of the pictures, you'll see a black jacket over the chair.
Okay, and the next slide? What is this?
This is inside of a garbage can. It was near the table with food items on it. It's a whiskey bottle. There was again a few pictures before that I didn't see us go through that showed what the garbage can was in relation to the table with food items.
Was the bottle empty or did it still have something in it?
It was
Okay, next slide. What is this?
it's a receipt with a Rivertown mark.
And what does the date and time say? I'm not sure it shows it now.
Yeah, I'm not sure it shows it.
Okay, all right, the next. Okay, what is this?
It is a bag of ice, and it's also I can't remember what fruit that's in.
If I said avocado, would you?
It's avocado.
It's okay. So you said there were just 2 bins? Is this the second bin?
Yes.
Okay, where'd you find this?
It was, if I remember correctly, this bin was going to be alongside the.
We're gonna go back and show a picture of the whole room again when we go through each thing, but this was in the room that night.
Yes, sir.
Okay, was the ice, can you go back to this, to the receipt? What is, can you read if we give a close up what the items on that receipt were?
Bag of ice, a Laura bar, 2 Laura bars actually, a Robitussin, Clo Cup, Pantene, a Nut Tray, orange juice, Diet Coke, K deposit with frozen Diet Coke, organic bananas, extra large avocados, and an ice mountain.
Okay. When you, what is the ice sitting in?
It's sitting in a metal tray.
Okay, a receipt later says lasagna pan, but if you know, would you call it, you don't know.
I would call it metal tray.
Okay.
Similar to what you would if you had a family gathering, cooking with family, you have lasagna, you make a large dish of lasagna or potato.
Got it. Was the ice melted or was it still intact?
It was melted.
Okay, next picture. What is this?
It is a receipt, I believe it's bottom half of that receipt,
What's the date and time?
12/3/21, 4:09 p.m.
Okay, and that's, looks like it's for how much, if you can see? Does it say?
No, let's see, I'm not seeing
Up at
it.
the top.
Sold items, $1.04.
Okay, and it's to the state of Michigan?
Yes.
Okay, what is this?
Photograph the mattress, so we went through.
The item at the bottom of the screen, what is that?
It's a blue solo type cup, plastic cup.
Was there anything in it?
No,
All right, and 386. What is this?
that's another plastic bin.
Okay, so were there 2 plastic bins or 3 plastic bins?
There were multiple plastic bins
Okay,
in the room.
the items that you found, were they in 1, 2, or 3 plastic bins?
2 plastic bins.
Okay, so there's the one that the backpack was in.
Which was at the table.
Okay, and then what's the other one?
That second plastic bin was with the ice that was.
Okay.
And we have this third plastic bin that actually, which I would say second plastic bin, which actually have items that are important to this.
Okay, so you weren't counting the one with ice?
No.
Okay, all right. Where was this located?
This will be alongside the west wall.
So was it next to the mattress?
No, the mattress again, as you come into the room, you have the table that had 2 items on it, and then you have the gate. As you work your way further west in the room, you have their wall that you took, that we go through earlier pictures, have the picture with the paint swatches or
All right,
whatever.
well, I don't know, but we'll show you a picture.
Okay.
So was this next to the other bin with the backpack?
No,
Okay, about how many feet away from that bin was this one?
I can't quite call it, I forget, but about more than 8 feet.
Okay, and what was inside this bin?
It was a purse.
Was this securely latched?
Yes, if you go back to the further picture, you can see I was more firmly latched.
Okay, and did you pull that bag out?
Yes, we took pictures of the sequence so you can see as we're moving, opening up the actual plastic bin and then actually open up first.
Okay, and the next slide. Is that the bag that was in the bin?
Yes, sir.
And this is your protocol? Is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth. How do you approach the photos in terms of sequence?
As we go through the purse or any kind of item, if you're like, any kind of item, we open the purse, you take a photo of how the items are in the purse inside the collection, and then you start pulling out the items in a kind of set them up, showing the items individually inside the purse bag, whatever.
Okay, let's go to the next slide and we'll go through all of the items, because you actually take each item out of the purse and photograph it?
Yes.
Okay, what are we seeing there?
Those are 2 envelopes with cash inside.
Okay, and 390? Oh, I'm sorry, what's underneath the envelopes?
That is the tabulation return. Whenever we do a crime scene, there's an officer there that takes notes on all items we collect from the crime scene.
Okay. Look closely at that search warrant tabulation. Who's Peschke? Do you know who that is?
No.
Okay, if I told you it was an Oakland County sheriff, would you say that this was the search warrant for that room?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, there were 2 search warrants, well, there were many search warrants executed that day. The search warrant that was executed on the art studio was one of them. There was also a search of the defendant's home.
Okay.
Do you know whether this was a tabulation for the art studio or the defendant's home?
This year, I search more for this location, this scene.
Okay, we'll get to that. Next. What's this?
Again, we're taking more photographs inside first.
And what's visible in the purse?
Most visible is more cash. Cash inside first.
Okay, and then some other items?
Yes.
What's to the right?
You got pills, bottles of pills.
And then what are those items?
Along where, if you look, there you have the keys, and as you go further to the right, you start to see the cell phones. We also collect.
Okay, next picture. That's a close-up of the cash?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and 392?
No, you have a close-up of the pills and cell phones. Also, the keys to the key outside.
Okay, how many cell phones?
4.
All right, and did you notice anything about these cell phones? Well, first of all, were they on or were they off?
All the cell phones were off at the time of the
All 4 of the cell phones were off?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anything else did you notice about the cell phones?
As you see, one cell phone is, as I say, report severely damaged.
All right, and that's the front screen?
Yes.
Okay, so would you say that's multiple cracks indicating damage or a couple cracks?
I'm comfortable saying severe damage.
Okay. Next. That's a close-up.
Close up with keys, then we collect it from the side first.
And what is that card, if you know?
It says card activations, like those got date cards or something.
Okay, next slide. All right, this is a close-up of the medications.
Mhm.
All right, and can you read what the medications? First of all, are they prescription?
They are prescription.
And who are they prescribed to?
Jennifer Crumbley.
All right, and do you know what each prescription bottle is for?
You have 2 bottles of Adderall, and then the 3rd bottle I can't quite make out.
Okay, I'm gonna close up there. What is that?
Alprazolam.
All right, do you know what that is?
No.
Okay, if I told you it was Xanax, do you have any reason to disbelieve that?
I would have it.
Okay, all right, next.
Give me photos of the cell phones.
Okay, and the next one? What is this?
That's when we started pulling out cash and counting.
Is that your protocol? You lay out all of the bills?
Yes.
Okay. 397, that's,
We'll continue to count the money as we find.
okay.
And we're still counting money. And we're still counting money. That's last photo of money.
Did you count all the money?
Yes, we counted all the money.
What was the total in cash that was in the purse?
$6,617.
Okay. 400. What is this?
It's a photo receipt. That's the top section of the receipt from earlier.
And what is the date and time?
12/3/21. 4:37 p.m.
Can you read the items on the receipt?
No problem. Jeffrey giant lasagna pan, burners 2 liter, got recycling video charge, paper towel, Kleenex ultra tissue.
Okay. All right. Lieutenant Willis is going to help me just for demonstrative purposes pull out just some of these items that are not exactly clear in the photo. So I just wanted to ask you in detail if this was itemized photograph. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. The first is the book pack, the backpack.
Yes, it does appear to be a photograph.
Okay. And that's where the packet is with the course medication. It looks like, was this in the backpack?
It was in the backpack.
Okay, and then the clothing items were also in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the next,
That's 427 for the
427.
okay.
What's 427?
for demonstrative purposes, the backpack. So it's identified first.
Do you recognize these items?
Yes, that's those items that are provided there.
Okay, so are those clothing or are they blankets?
They're very blanks.
Okay.
Are those also 427?
Yes, sir.
That's the science bag, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is us. So these are some, where did this, what is this?
That's the sweatshirt. We already went over it through the picture earlier.
And where was that found?
That was found here in the science bag.
Okay. What is this?
That was a jacket that was over the chair.
Okay.
That had the hotel cards on it.
Okay. And then the only, that's what it's like. And then the only other thing I'm going to show you is the last item found in what you call the second plastic container, which I call the third. Is this that in that container?
Yes, that's the first.
Okay, and were the cell phones found in this bag?
Cell phones, the money, yes. That was in the bag.
Okay, thank you. All right, before I go back, lastly, to show you the pictures of the room so you can orient us and where these were found. Did you ever come into contact with Jennifer Crumbley?
We were requested to look down the photograph of all the parties.
Okay, and why were you asked to do that?
We were just requested to take pictures of their any injuries regarding arrest. Because the request was not only for a search warrant, but if you look at my report, the request was to process the scene of a search warrant and arrest at the address at 1111 Beverly Street.
Okay, do you see Jennifer Crumbley in photo today?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you point her out, describe something she's wearing?
She's right here. She's wearing a blue jacket, or a suit jacket.
May the record reflect that he's properly identified the defendant.
The record will say.
Okay, lastly, I just want to take you to the initial photos that you took to the room to try to point out where exactly you found each of these plastic pins. Okay. Great. Is this a good photo to show us?
Yes.
Okay.
Black, one more. One more. There we go. Right there. The first bin is going to be to the just to the right of the food table with food items on the floor, and it was kind of under the table. That was the item that had the book bag in it, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And the mattress is on the other side of the table?
Exactly.
Okay. Where was the ice and the avocado found?
Ice and avocado was still more out in the open, still in that same area of the first bin.
Okay. Was the second plastic bin that contained the purse with the cell phones and the cash, where was that?
If you look straight ahead, as I mentioned before, the portrait that had pink splotches along that wall, you have that table just up under it, and just beyond that, and you move around, that's when you see the table with the...
Behind
Yes.
that workbench on the left?
Yes.
Is there a better photo of it? Can you see it from that?
No, we're looking...
Up there.
around. That area's one more. There you go. You have the bench. I misspoke. You have the kind of yellow...
Cart?
The yellow cart with the tubs.
Yes.
Just to the left of that, you have the items with the paint, and then just behind that would be the tub.
Okay. And that was securely fastened?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was still fastened, but in another bin. As you look at the picture, you can see that bin is in another bin.
Was the bin inside that bin also closed?
No.
Okay. And was the bag zipped or unzipped?
That was at the time where we went.
Okay. And that's where you found the cell phones that were turned off and the cash?
Yes.
Okay. And how did all of that evidence get here?
After we took pictures, all these pictures, we then collected the evidence and we secured them in these items and turned them over to the Detroit Police Public Safety Headquarters and evidence lockers.
So, I guess the defense would be, if the defense is calling witnesses,
that during the trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence must be considered to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, it could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. Do not go on social media, do not go on Facebook, don't post, don't do research, don't text anyone, don't discuss this case with anyone. All right? Any questions about the schedule? All right, proceed to our hearing.
All right, for the break.
I'm prepared for that. I'm asking if I can please be notified of who the prosecution is calling for tomorrow, when they know.
Can you do that?
Yes, Judge, it's the same witnesses we identified last time.
Okay,
We're
sorry.
good.
They made comments today, they might not on witnesses. I don't know if that's true.
Well, that's a good point, because,
That's why I'm asking.
Okay, well, things kind of went fast, right? So they may not know that yet, right? I don't think that they've had time to consider if they want to call somebody else. But I always request that if you know sometime this evening that you're going to call someone in addition to who you already notified the defense of, if you could notify them, that'd be great.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone, please be seated. Hold on a second. She forgot this. Sorry.
Dangerous situation here. You're looking at a high-speed pursuit, which is moving its way through Inglewood. We believe this is a shooting suspect, which is especially concerning for law enforcement. You wonder if that person still has a gun flying right now on the 105 freeway. This is in Inglewood, not too far from SoFi Stadium, moving real fast. We did see, Christine, law enforcement behind this person pretty clearly, and now it looks like they may be letting him move a little bit because he's just going so fast.
Well, those speeds there are really crazy, over 100 miles per hour. They look there sometimes going on the shoulder of the road there past these vehicles. We did see, like you said, a number of law enforcement officers on the freeway and then getting onto the freeway from a ramp there. Don't see them in this shot here, but can you imagine being on the freeway? We're talking rush hour here on Friday night, 5:30, open freeway though, heading westbound towards LAX.
And this person's moving so fast, it's a little challenge even for Skyfox to keep up. One of the potential challenges upcoming as this driver moves towards LAX is that there are flight restrictions around LAX. So Skyfox is having to maneuver around some of that. You think about where they're flying right now is near the flight path for planes that are coming in. We just passed the Hollywood Park Casino, which is obviously right by SoFi Stadium and by the Forum and by the Intuit Dome, which is being built. Quite a landmark in the City of Champions. Now we're moving into Westchester, which is literally the city where LAX is located. So that's going to make this challenging. But this person is really moving fast. A real sense of urgency.
Yeah, you really feel for those other motorists who have no idea what is coming up there behind them at these very high speeds. It could start to get a little backed up now as the freeway has some options as to where to go and to continue onto Imperial Highway. There you have the LAX property right in that viewpoint right there. So this driver continuing on to the south of LAX, heading into perhaps Playa del Rey area where there's a tight-knit community and some pretty narrow streets and not a lot of places to go or to turn around necessarily.
So this is part of the airport where we got a lot of the private planes that are located, and then you've got some of the other planes. We just passed the LA Times headquarters, which obviously has been in the news a lot this week, and we are moving into rush hour on a Friday. A lot of people head to LAX to get out of town. And this person is just moving real fast.
And now on the flats part, no longer really a freeway like you think of a freeway, elevated with a lot of cars on it. You're now on the surface streets pretty much here. Looking at Playa del Rey right there as LAX borders that area of El Segundo and I guess more El Segundo right there, right?
And Westchester and El Segundo and all that. So there will be some options coming up. We'll see which direction this person goes. Are they going to take that tunnel that takes you closer to the airport itself? Are they going to keep driving and try to get towards PCH and do this along the coastline? Or are they going to move in a different direction? It's surprising, frankly, Christine, how little traffic we're seeing at the airport right now. Real smooth ride. Yeah. Sometimes by some of the off-ramps, it tends to bunch up, especially at this time. And now you're really looking at that flight path and you're wondering where this person's going to go. And we feel for Skyfox, who's having to navigate the LAX flight path and, frankly, keep their own safety in mind to not get hit by an airplane or put anybody in danger. That's why we're shooting this from so far away and why it looks like Skyfox may have actually lost this to this person.
Well, like you said, we do have to keep this wider shot due to the restrictions there at LAX.
There you go. Turn around. Go in the other direction.
Okay,
so it looks like they may have made a U-turn there because there really isn't that many places to go at that point. You do see the police helicopter. I don't know if that's LAPD or
and the police cars. Look at them trying to catch up there.
They're going to have to make the U-turn. But they're moving, and that's helping us keep an eye on it. But you don't see those cruisers immediately behind the car, at least not yet. He may have been driving so fast and weaving so much that they didn't feel like it was safe for them to follow up and stay right on top of him without causing a crash. But now you see that light from the bird up in the air that gives you a sense of where this vehicle is. And once we get a little further away from LAX, assuming we do, Skyfox is going to be able to get closer and give us a little bit better view of this.
So what this tells me is this driver does not know these beach community areas here by LAX. The way that driver turned around and stayed on these major surface streets, getting now back onto the freeway 105 eastbound here, tells me this driver wanted to get out of that tight-knit area where it's largely residential once you get past some of the bigger corporation buildings there. And like I said, the roads are very narrow there. This driver made that U-turn back on the freeway, headed perhaps back towards from where they came from, where this pursuit started.
So we're now passing through some signature buildings there, Boeing, LA Times, others that are located right near the airport. For those of us that have made that trip so many times, leaving the airport, we've seen a lot of those buildings before. And as this driver moves back into the thick of it on a Friday night commute, it's probably going to start running into some traffic here. It's interesting the driver did not make the choice to head down PCH or head into one of those beach communities that are located near the airport, and instead moving back eventually towards Inglewood and some of the other communities there. Let's see which freeway the driver takes right here. He takes the 405, and then we'll talk about traffic. Move towards the western part of Los Angeles, and that's usually backed up at this point in a Friday
staying
night.
on the 105.
We'll see.
Yeah, you make a good point. To get on that 405, going either direction at this hour, 5:30 on Friday night, not probably a good idea, but the driver here, looking at what's ahead of him and seeing it's still pretty wide open. We talk about this being a Friday night and you see it so wide open.
So this driver now driving in the carpool lane, we don't know how many people are in this vehicle. I mean, it's possible that there are more than one, but we don't have a clue on that. We have not been able to get good eyes on this driver.
Ooh, what happens now?
Whoa, okay.
What happens now?
Look at this,
Oh, wow.
going across, doing a little Frogger move across all lanes of traffic, and you wonder, will they try to get off the freeway now that they've moved onto the other side there?
Well, now that they realize that traffic going this opposite direction is really backed up bumper to bumper like you might expect on a Friday night at 5:30, this driver now looking at...
Are we going to get off the freeway?
Looks like this is an on-ramp to the freeway, so perhaps coming up, something to consider.
So, yeah, I mean, because you think about this road, this 105, which leads you into downtown Los Angeles as well, and you have all that Friday night traffic that heads in that way. You see this cruiser really flying here, and we're going to try to get a sense of where exactly this car is.
Are we surface streets now?
It appears to be that way, and it also appears that police cruiser is ahead of it. So, yeah. I think Skyfox may be a little confused as they try to get a sense of where this vehicle is. Hopefully they can use let's hope that the law enforcement helicopter isn't as confused and maybe able to give us a sense of it with the bird ahead. But this is congested and challenging. And you also remember, as we said, because we are so close to LAX, that they can't fly exactly the way that they would usually fly, and that makes it harder to keep up with all of this.
Well, perhaps follow the police cars and see where they're going and what leads they have. You have that chopper overhead, probably LAPD there overhead giving them instructions, and such a good visual from overhead when you can follow from the helicopter and they can just guide you right in. This driver is on surface streets, we're told. So follow the police vehicles and perhaps you'll find your suspect here. But you're right, it's dark out now and everybody's lights are popping up with the red there, and so it is hard for us to follow the suspect vehicle, especially after having had to go wide there with the airport in LAX. But we're keeping a watch on this. It is a kind of pretty view there of Southern California right now with all those lights here as it gets to be dark.
So we're now in the Hawthorne portion of our community and trying to get a sense of exactly where this guy went. We're hearing that he's on Imperial Highway. Looks like there's a cop car there moving up towards the top of your screen, and we're wishing Skyfox luck.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Day 5 has concluded. I believe that's going to be the end of the state's case. If not, I think they might have one more witness, but I believe the state's case is going to conclude tomorrow. For certain, I believe it's going to, conclude tomorrow morning. So today was the first day I thought that the state brought anything to the table that could be troublesome to Jennifer Crumbley. And you could see her attorney was fighting very hard to keep that out. And that was the statement that she made to her boyfriend, to which she said something to the effect, or I guess it was a text message that she texted and said, "My son's about to do something stupid. I have to go into a school." She goes into the school, comes out without her son, and then her son does something stupid. But at the same point, the witness also, which I think is why she went into the depth that she did, because the state was hoping that they were going to allow this guy up here pristine, unchallenged, because they were going to be afraid of having Jennifer Crumbley's reputation tarnished. And of course, the defense attorney surprised the state by saying, no, we're going to go out. I'm going to cross-examine him completely and point out the fact that the police, he didn't say this information, or he wasn't saying anything bad about my client until the police came in and said, listen, either you play ball with us or you could lose your job. We'll go public with the details of the affair, and it's going to be a public spectacle. And she went ahead and made it a public spectacle, just to make the point that these, police officers, these people were after the Crumbleys, and wanting to make a case against them. Now, whether or not, like I said, this rises to the level, as we've talked about, the jury instructions that are required, the elements that are required for this crime, one being whether or not we believe you could see the causal link between Jennifer Crumbley's actions or lack of actions and what her son did. And up until he got on the stand, this was a tenuous link at best. Now, if this jury, again, this was the strategy here that you just saw come to fruition. They wanted to inflame the jury with the imagery of the victims of the school. That's why they put on the principals, and the videos and all of the horrific nature of this crime. And then they're going to end their case with this guy getting up on a stand, and in their vision of things, he was going to get up on the stand. They were going to be too afraid to really bring out the things that they would need to discredit him. And the jury's going to get left with this image of essentially a text message or a Facebook Messenger message saying, I have to go into the school because my son's about to do something stupid. And a jury would say, you know what, that's enough. We're going to convict because we want to hold her accountable for the carnage that that her son did. And she could have got him help. She could have done these things. So that's going to be, if she gets convicted, it's going to be because this jury got upset and found that. Because otherwise, it's still a very, very, very difficult link to make, in my opinion, to say that she's responsible for this, or that she was negligent in terms of that she should have foresaw that her son was going to do a school shooting. Because one of the other things that the defense attorney was successful in drawing out of this cross-examination was the messages where she says the counselor basically came and said, hey, no big deal. We're not treating this as a discipline situation. It would be good for him to be around students. Let him stay in school. We think that's a positive thing. You have 48 hours to get him help. And she leaves the school and says, okay, Jesus Christ, I got to deal with this stuff. I'm going to have to get a counselor and go through all these extra steps. But ultimately, nobody's walking out of that room thinking he's going to go shoot up a school. And to me, that's where, again, still, I think that when you apply the presumption of innocence, which the state, of course, doesn't want to have happen here, because remember, that is the strongest thing that sits in Ms. Crumbley's favor, is you have to presume her innocent. You have to presume she's innocent. And you have to presume all evidence, at the beginning of this, that she is innocent. And then when you start to analyze the evidence, it's got to be beyond any doubt. There's got to be no doubt whatsoever that she was fully aware that her son was going to shoot up this school, and that she, was negligent in her parenting. And I just think that this is going to be a tough case to get 12 people in that room to say what she did. Now, the father's a different story. He didn't secure the gun up, and that is going to be the thing that's going to take him, potentially be the hardest thing for him to explain, unless he can explain it and say, listen, this is why the gun wasn't secured, or this is where the gun was, or maybe the gun was secured and he didn't trust that his son with the code of how to get into the gun safe, which wouldn't be necessarily a crazy thing to do. He's 15, 16 years old. The father doesn't necessarily believe his son's going to go shoot up a school. And that's the problem here. I mean, they would have to really believe that that's what's going on, and that some of these things that he was exhibiting, like allegedly hearing voices, saying there was a demon. I mean, these are things that very easily a parent could say, or would be needing to go through and assess, is this just a child trying to get out of his responsibilities, trying to get out of cleaning his room, trying to, essentially making some things up here, exaggerating things, embellishing things, or do we really have a situation where my son is exhibiting true mental health issues? And that's where this case is going to be so difficult on the state, and that's why the state wants to get in all this extracurricular stuff. Anyways, I'm not fully convinced. I got a lot to think about here. I'm going to be very interested to hear how Jennifer Crumbley does on the witness stand. I think that's going to make a big deal, and we'll see how it goes. But listen, not to me the strongest case that the state could have put on. I'm leaning towards not guilty at this point, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how she comes across in the stand. We'll see what other information the defense puts up. In the meantime, we'll go from there. So I will, of course, see you guys in the courtroom tomorrow. We'll be watching day 6 of the Jennifer Crumbley trial first thing in the morning, and we'll see where this thing goes. And until then, guys, let justice prevail.